Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click on that like button if you like my video. Also click on that notification bell. Thank you. Hello everyone, in this lecture we are going to cover some stuff about PowerPoint and it's a little bit of its background. I'm not going to take a lot of your time, I promise you. I know you know what PowerPoint is, and that is why you're taking this course, but just to get a quick refresher, so we'll go over it really quickly. So PowerPoint is a software that allows you to create a presentation, right? So the first version of PowerPoint came out in 1987, and who owns the PowerPoint? We all know Microsoft is the one that owns the PowerPoint, and what they do is they are a software company, and the software that they actually deal with are main primarily ones are the operating system, which is the Windows. We all know that if you are watching this presentation, most likely you're using the Windows. Then they also have Office Tools, which is PowerPoint, which is our main topic and a main training for this entire course. Other software for that Office suite includes Word, Excel, Access, and many others. Then they also have a software where they build games, and one of the biggest game console is Xbox. Microsoft was founded by Paul Allen and who else? On April 4th, 1947. I left that blank because everyone knows. So, again, it's a quiz. So, the good right answer is Bill Gates. Yes. All right. Versions of Microsoft PowerPoint. There are so many versions of Microsoft PowerPoint. If you go to this link that I have it, you're going to see every version of PowerPoint then when it came out and when it was published. So, just to quickly go over, I have it open right here. If you go to the link, it's Microsoft PowerPoint, and if you come down quickly, all the way down, and right here you're going to see all the versions. The first version when it came out, and all the way through version 16, PowerPoint 2016. When it came out, which release, which year was it, what is it for? Everything you're going to find it here. So if you wanted to become a proficient in Microsoft, you should also know what were the different version in the past. So anyway, as I said, I'm not going to take your time. So this is what I was going to talk to you about Microsoft PowerPoint. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the complete PowerPoint and presentation course. This is the first part of the course, and it is divided into 12 different sections. This is the part where we're going to cover how we could create PowerPoint slides. The second part will be covered by TJ Walker, where he will tell you how you could do an effective presentation of those PowerPoint slides. So let's dive right into it. The first section we're going to cover about in the introduction, which we are doing right now. We'll do a little bit of refresher. We'll talk about the version of PowerPoint. By the way, we are covering PowerPoint 365 Pro Plus, which is equal to 2019. Next one, we're going to go into creating your first PowerPoint presentation or first slide. Yes, I wanted to get right into it without wasting any time. And these are the few of the things that we're going to cover. Section 3 is about editing objects in slide. And that is everything we're going to cover that is available under the home menu. That includes cut, copy, paste, selecting new slides, formatting it, bullet numbering, adding, remove columns. Moreover, drawing shapes, order, group, and position objects, insert shapes, styles, so many things. Section 4, we're going to cover adding objects to the slides, and that is part of the insert menu. And the list of topics we're going to cover are inserting through the slide themes, adding a new slide, what are the different options, how can you insert a table, image, shape, icon, importing Excel, zooming in, creating links, adding actions and comments. More to section 4 is adding equation and symbols, adding videos and audios to slides, screen recording, picture editing. I have covered every single part of things that you see in the bulletin. Everything has its own video. Now moving on to section 5 is about designing the slides. That's in the design menu. And these are the few things that we're going to cover. Section 6 is about transition from one slide to another. And we also cover about how we could time our slides and the duration. Section 7 is about animation. Fun part. This is where you can make your PowerPoint presentation more fun. And the things we're going to cover are different type of animation, adding multiple animation to the same object, timing those animations, animation panes, triggers, and more. Section 8, slideshow. If you are done, how we could present that. There are different options that are available to us in the slideshow. Section 9 is about reviewing it, proofing, accessibility, and language, how you can add or delete comments on it. Section 10 is about viewing our slideshows, the slides that we have prepared. Section 11 is about helping, or if you need help while you're going through creating your PowerPoint slides, there are different options, different help that is available to us. And the last section I want to cover about is file, that is under the file menu, and the things like saving your presentation, advanced settings, setting up your account, providing feedback, customizing your menu bar, customizing your ribbon, and all that stuff. So again, this is what I'm going to cover in the part 1. In this lecture, we are going to cover the difference between Microsoft PowerPoint 2016 and 365. A lot of my students ask me this question: can you tell me the difference between 2013, 2016, 365? I'm not going to cover the feature differences. I'm just going to cover what exactly the 365, which came out, which Microsoft is offering heavily. Office 2016 is actually a version of Office Productivity Suite, which includes Word, Excel, PowerPoint. It is typically accessed via the desktop, which means when you install, you have a software, an ISO image you install on your machine, and you could access those software, the Office Suite software, on your desktop, just on your desktop. Now, whereas Office 365 is a cloud-based subscription to a suite of programs, including Office 2016. And that Office 2016 includes the PowerPoint. So you could have a standalone product or as a part of an Office 365 subscription. Now, the big difference is Office 365 can be accessed from anywhere, regardless of location or your computer. So if you are today in USA and tomorrow you go to Australia, you go to your Hotmail account or Microsoft account, and you could pull up the Microsoft PowerPoint, Word, Excel, or whatever the suite that you want to use. You could pull up right on your browser. So if that computer, specifically that computer, does not have that product installed, you could still access it. That's the beauty of 365. Now, remember, 365 PowerPoint is exactly the same as 2016. It's just the difference is 2016 has, or 365, they are different versions. One that can be installed on your machine, and one can be accessed over the internet through the cloud, where you could perform all your functions on the cloud. And of course, the previous version of 2016 is 2013, which is very much similar for 2016. And in our training, in our course, we are going to cover mostly, or I would say about 90 to 95% of the stuff that we'll cover, it will be all based on 2016 or 360 or Office 365. Hello again, and we are going to cover how we're going to download and install a PowerPoint. Now, my first question to you is, do you have PowerPoint? In your computer, do you have PowerPoint right now? And if your answer is yes, then go ahead and simply skip this entire lecture right now. And if your answer is no, then you could go to www.microsoft.com and you could follow my instructions, and we could download the the free version of the Microsoft PowerPoint that is an evaluation version for 30 days. So let's assume you don't. So I'll go into my browser and I will type in www.microsoft.com. Here on the main page, I want you to go to Office. From the Office, go to Products. If you want to download the entire suite, then you could actually stay on this page and you could go from here if you want to download the entire suite. But if you are only interested in downloading the PowerPoint, click on Product and go to PowerPoint right here under Applications. Now it will take you, it'll bring you right here to Microsoft PowerPoint. Get it now within Office 365. Again, there is one that says try for free and for home for business. If you are trying it for home, select the for home and it will give you a pop-up window where you could download and save that executable. I have already downloaded and have installed PowerPoint on my machine. If you do not, then simply go through this procedure, download it, install it, and then I'll see you on the other side. In this lesson, we are going to cover how we could access or start a PowerPoint application. Now, if you already know how to start it up, perfect, that's beautiful. You could go ahead and simply skip this entire lesson. But if you don't know, or if you want to learn a few new tricks about starting up an application or shortcuts, let's stick around. Steps for starting PowerPoint. Number one is you could start the application through the start menu of your Windows. You could also do it through the search menu. You could start from the saved file that you have already started and now the file is saved. You could just simply double click on it. You could create a quick launch on your taskbar, which is right at the bottom of your screen. And also you could create shortcuts on your desktop. So let's try all of these one by one. So I'm going to just simply escape out of this. And the first thing I'm going to try is accessing it through the start menu. So simply click on start and then go to all programs. And in the all programs, you're probably going to see it's going to say Microsoft PowerPoint. By the way, on my menu, you see PowerPoint 2013. Now, since we are learning 2016, so I'm not going to access that. So let's go ahead and click on the one that says right here, PowerPoint. This is the 2016 one. So go ahead and click on it and it will start the new PowerPoint presentation as it says PowerPoint presentation 1. That's the first way to start it. The second way is that you could do through the search menu. So from the search menu, you come in here on the start and type PowerPoint. And you'll see again it shows up. Two of them are the one we want is the second one, which is the 2016 one. Click on it and it accesses it. The third way we wanted to access it is through this saved file. This is the file I have saved, and if I double click on it, it will start up the PowerPoint application as well as the contents that I have saved in it earlier. The next one is to create a quick launch on your taskbar. So taskbar, what is a taskbar? Taskbar is right here at the bottom. That allows you to access your programs quickly. So if you go to your PowerPoint again, so let's say if you are searching for PowerPoint and right here is my PowerPoint icon, I could simply do right click and I could go here and click here. It says pin to taskbar. You could also pin to start menu, which is every time you click on start it'll show up. So for now we'll pin to start taskbar and you see right here it opened up the program for the PowerPoint. Then the last one is that we wanted to create the PowerPoint through the shortcut, create a shortcut on your desktop. So let's go ahead and minimize this. And for that, again, go to the start menu, find that program that you wanted to create a shortcut on. This is the one. Right click on it, simply copy and come to your desktop and right click and paste. And that becomes your shortcut because you see this little arrow that represents that it's a shortcut. Then you could simply double click it and it will start your presentation. Now in the next lesson we'll cover how or what type of presentation we'll be accessing. Hello everyone, let's start creating our first PowerPoint slide. I know we have a lot of things to cover in this entire course, but I really want you to get your feet wet, get your hands dirty, and let you get started in creating your first PowerPoint slide. So what are we going to cover? We're going to cover how we're going to select the blank template, selecting the text box, adding text inside of the text box, resizing that text box, rotating the entire text, deleting, copying, and then doing the slideshow at the end. So this will actually get you started. I don't want to waste any time, so let's go right into it. So the first thing first, we will start off by going to File and selecting a blank presentation. When you select the blank presentation, it will give you by default the two text boxes. Top, which says click to add title. Second one, click to add subtitle. And if you have the design ideas option enabled, it will always give you the design ideas on the right hand side. That's okay. You could close this. We'll cover some of these later on, definitely, which will help us make our presentation a lot more beautiful. But right now we are learning. We're going to take baby steps. So let's close this out. First thing first, this is the first text box that you get when you pick up your blank slide. And as you notice, inside of it, it says click to add title. The inside, if you have this box outside selected, you're going to notice that it has a solid line since you have selected the entire box. As soon as you select inside, that click to add title message goes away. It's just for you to add it. So once you have that selected inside, you're going to notice two things. One, that the cursor is going to start blinking. It's going to tell you go ahead and type something. And also the text box right here outside, it has changed from the solid line to dotted lines. It means now you are inside of a text box. All right, so let's type something. So I'm going to type Seinfeld. By the way, for those people who do not know what Seinfeld is a great hit TV show, a comedy show, one of my favorite shows. So I'm going to use that as an example to put in some text in there. So, by the way, it has no significance to what we're going to learn in the PowerPoint presentation or in this entire course. All right, so now we have selected as our title. Now, the next one is click to add a subtitle. What do we want to add? Something that you want to add, like Seinfeld show was aired in 1989. So that's how you could add a subtitle box. So this is how you could start adding your subtitle. If you're done with this PowerPoint presentation, this is the only thing that you want to show your audience. That's how it works. All you have to do is go to slideshow, click on from beginning or current slide, because we only have one slide, so we're going to pick either one, doesn't really matter. Click on it and boom, there is your slideshow, a very first one. Congratulations. All right, by the way, all these things that we're going to be learning in PowerPoint can also be applied on any of the Microsoft suite. So if you're learning PowerPoint, you're going to know so many things about like Word, Excel, or many other products that Microsoft Office has to offer. All right, now the next thing is let's talk about selecting or adding text, additional text to it. So if you wanted to add something else to it, like Seinfeld, or the characters inside, you hit enter and you put in, let's say, Jerry, George, and Elaine, and Kramer. And as you notice, when you're typing your text message, your box, the text message is actually going outside of the box. Now you could adjust it by changing its font, or you could adjust it by resizing this entire box. See, I resized this entire box, and the box is, I could put it on the left hand side. Also, now let's talking about rotating. Now if you notice this thing, if you select on it, you're gonna notice that this thing has this little icon or a round arrow looking picture. You could select on it and you could do clockwise or anti-clockwise, moving your mouse. So let's say if I wanted to move it clockwise, leave it here. Now you notice that it has the box which is outside of the actual slide. It doesn't really matter, but if it bothers you, sometimes it does bother me because I wanted to keep all my text boxes within the same slide. So I'll just move down here and move this or drag this up like this. Also, I could make this smaller so it'll fit right exactly where the text is. Now you could select anywhere on the solid line and move this around. Let's talk about deleting the text. If you want to delete the entire text or entire box, just simply select the entire box and hit delete. It'll go away. Let's do undo. Now if you want to select a word inside of a text box, then you have to select that word. Double click on that word, hit delete, and it will delete that. Copying paste, if you wanted to make the same text box another one, you could just simply do right click, copy, and paste right here, and it will paste the entire text box for you. Slideshow. The last thing is I want to talk about slideshow. We already know that you could go to slideshow, click on from beginning or from current slide. So you could also select this little icon, which will give you slideshow. You could also select this little icon on the bottom right. It says slideshow. This will also give you the slideshow. All right, that's it, folks. Hopefully, you learned something good and useful, and you're gonna try it right away. And that's my main primary purpose was to get you started. We have a lot to cover, so stay tuned. I see you on the next lesson. Hello again. This is the lesson about selecting the slide template for your presentation. Now you have two options. One is you could pick a slide, a template from the list of templates that is available to you. Now thanks to Microsoft, who has made so many templates available for us, so we don't have to actually go outside, make our own templates, make the animation or make the pictures for the slide. So those are available. And the second option you always have is a blank template. So let's see how we could access those available templates to us and the blank template. So I'm gonna just escape out of my this presentation, and I'm gonna open up. So I'm gonna just simply close this, and I'm gonna open up the PowerPoint again. So PowerPoint is opening up. So what you need to do is here you have to go to new, because this is the first time you're creating a PowerPoint presentation, right? And you're picking the template. Now, if you see on the top, these are the ones that I have picked previously. That's why you see them up here. So as I said, you have two options. One option is that you pick a predefined templates that are available to you. And these are, you see right here, these are all these templates that I'm talking about. So right here, you see, when you click here, search for online templates and themes. You could also search some of the templates that are not shown in this list. See, if you go down, if you do not see the one that you like, you could search for it by typing here. So anyway, the suggested searches, as you could see right here, these are the default. The first one, it says presentation. Let's click on the presentation. So if you go to the presentation one, you see all these are available to us. You could pick any one you like. So let's say if you are a high school teacher and you wanted to do high school presentation, you see right here it says high school presentation. You click on it and it's going to tell you this is the high school presentation. Create a great presentation with the help of this template designed for high school students. And the size for this is 1575 kilobytes. If you click on create, now the PowerPoint, what it will do is it will go online on the Microsoft website and it will pull that template for you. Now keep in mind you gotta have the access to the internet in order to click on the create. So let's try it. If I have enough speed and enough bandwidth on my computer, it will just go ahead and click create and it will pull that template right in. See, it looks so beautiful. Imagine that if you have to do this from scratch and how much time you're going to end up spending just creating this template. On the right hand side, you're going to see this is the help menu. If you need help, you could read through it. If you don't, simply close this out. Now you see that the presentation starts from here. And as you go into the presentation, you're going to see each of the slide has a different information on it. Now, it does not mean your presentation is just that. You could change anything here that you wanted to change. So let's say right here on the second slide, excuse me, you have this funky tunes and you don't like it. So you could just move it around somewhere as well. And right here it says Jen Martin, you could delete it as well. In the summary, they already have the subtitle, some information, but that's okay. It's in a different language. That's not the point. If you wanted to make a change, you could just simply select it and hit delete. Now you could start clicking, adding your stuff. Right? It's just that simple. And you could keep typing, keep hitting enter, whatever the summary that you want to type. If you do not like a slide in this, it doesn't mean you have to keep it. You could simply select that slide and hit delete. And it would delete that slide. Anyway, let's go back to our file and click on new again. And as I said, you could select that presentation, anything you like. Now let's say if you go to education part, you have all these templates available to you. If you go to diagrams, if you wanted to put in some diagram information, everything's right here. Let's go back. If you wanted to do some presentation on the business, so business presentation are like fitness design, project analysis, organizational chart. There's so much you could do. Let's say if you want to look for something and you cannot find in this list of templates, so all you have to do is type it here. So let's say I'm looking for a template for training, for example. I'll just simply type training, hit enter, and now it's going outside on the Microsoft or some of the other resources that has those training templates. See, there are so many of them. There's sales training, trading cards, import 3D models. So if you wanted to do, let's say, sales, here are the sales agency ads, agency design, small flyer, flyer design if you want to create a flyer. So this is a flyer. If you like this flyer, it will be right here for you. All you have to do is change the logo, change the date. Everything is so simple. Close this as well. I don't want to save it. Now let me open it again. Let's say if you do not want to select a slide, a template, and you want to create your own PowerPoint presentation, that is perfectly fine. And that's what, by the way, that's what I do as well. I keep it very simple. I don't use too much color on my slides. But again, it's definitely your choice. So what I do is I click on blank presentation, and it automatically comes with two boxes of text, one here and one here. On the right hand side, it's giving me design idea. That's fine. I could also pick the design idea I like. So right here, I just simply click whatever I want to type. So if I do hello world, it will be right here. And also, if you go to the design tab, and you could also change this design. So let's say if I wanted to change hello world like that. Now this is a design. This is not the template. So keep that thing in mind. But anyway, I will cover that part later in the lectures as well. Hopefully you learned something new in this one, and I'll see you in the next class. Hello and welcome back to our new lesson of paragraphs. In this lesson we are going to cover bullets, numbering, decrease list level, increase list level, line spacing, align left, center, right, and justify. These are the few things that are available to us to make our paragraph look more professional, or the way we want to present it during our presentation. Alright, let's get into it. I'm going to click escape to get into our editing mode of the slides. The first thing first is about bullets. If you notice, I have already listed all these subheadings, or the things that I wanted to cover, in bullets. How do I get that bullet? So first of all, let me just get rid of the bullet. So I just simply click on it. So now you know these text, you know how to add these text, right? So far you are with me in terms of adding text. Now you have added these text, and every text is separated into its own line. If you want to add bullets to these text, you just have to select every line that you want to have the bullet in front of it. So if I want every line to have a bullet in front of it, I could just simply select everything and click on this bullet button, and it will give me by default a solid bullet. If I only want to have a bullet to, let's say, first two lines, then I could, let me undo, I could just select the first two lines and click on these bullets, and it will only give me the bullets for those two first lines. Alright, so if I select it back and go back to the bullet menu or bullet button, you're going to see it has a drop down options as well, which is telling me there are different bullets available to me if I wanted to change it. So we have a solid one, the circle ones, the square, the hollow square. This is something different, like 4 squares together. This is like arrow key to the right, and this is like a check mark. Anything that you're doing, depend on your presentation, you could pick those bullet points according to your requirement. I usually go with the solid ones, a lot easy to work with. Now also, if you notice, if you click on the drop down, you have this customized bullet and numbering options as well. Let's click on that one. In this one, you're going to notice you have all these bullets that already available that we went through. Aside from that, we also have the size of the bullet. So if you do not like the size of the bullet, you could increase or decrease. So let's say I have 100 and I want to make the bullet size a little bigger. Not the font size, I'm talking about just the bullet. I could just do 150 and you're going to notice the bullet size increased. Perfect. Now let me undo and go back in there and go back to bullets and numbering. The color of the bullet can also be changed. Again, this does not change the color of your font, it only changes the color of your bullet. Let's say you wanted to pick the color red for your bullets. You could just simply click red and click OK, and it will make all the bullets as in red. You could highlight it again, the entire text box, go down to the customize and change it back to black. Alright, it's changed back. Now let's go back in there and let's pick other options like picture. So let's say you do want to add another bullet, like on your own customized bullet. You do not like any of these bullets, you want to add your own bullet, perfectly fine. But of course, if you are adding your own, you gotta have your own. So click on the picture and it is going to ask you, is that picture saved on your file on your desktop somewhere online or from somewhere from icons? I have it saved on my desktop, so I'm going to click on from file. I'm going to go to my desktop, and on my desktop I have a picture of the bullet right here, and I'm going to click insert. And you notice as soon as I click insert, it changed all the bullets and took the customized bullets that I have. Isn't that beautiful? I'll find it very interesting and fun to work with. Alright, let me undo, go back to the bullets and bullet and numbering customization. Also, if you wanted to customize more to it, you could go to customize, pick any bullets. See right here if you are in a different country, or if you wanted to use a symbol for that represents something else, you could pick these ones as well that you have available. See, they are in different languages as well. You could pick the subsets. See right here, it says Arabic, and there are Latin, general punctuation. There's so many of them. As you pick them, it will change it for you, and you could work with any bullets that are available right here. That's showing up right now as a symbol. It will show up as a bullet. All right. So that's about the bullet. Let me continue doing the numbers now. Move on to the number one. So if you don't want to use a bullet, you want to use the number, simply click on the number one. It will change the number ones. If you wanted to change the numbers from 1 2 3 to 1 2 3 with parentheses, 1 2 with Roman values, ABC, lower ABC, all of them are available. Similarly, you could also make that changes to with the customization of numbers as well. Alright, so I'm going to change it back to numbers. Sorry, bullets. Next thing I want to talk to you about is, what is our next thing is, we covered bullets, we covered numbering. Now decrease list level. What is a list level? List level is right here that you see. Right now it says decrease list level. It is not available as grayed out. Why? Because it has what I picked. I could actually increase the list level. If I click on it, you're going to notice it actually increases the list level to the right hand side. So, and it also made the font a little smaller. So you see, if I click it one more time, see, it pushed it to the right and it made it smaller. Let me go back in here. The reason it does that is because, for example, I picked the bullets number one and I hit enter, and inside of bullets I wanted to show you more things about bullet, like there are solid bullet, there is circle. Now if you notice, this font size is 24. You see right here 24, and this font size is 20. Why? Because it's below this. So Microsoft PowerPoint knows it's below me, so I'm going to change the font. If you want to make that font smaller or moved more to the right side, you could click on this and you see it's going to make it more smaller, push it more to the right. Same thing with this one. If you wanted to increase the list level, you could go this way to the left, which decreases the list level. So bring it back, or you could make it the same way as everyone is. So anyway, that's how the decrease list level and increase list level work. All right, next one. Oops, sorry. Next one is line spacing. Right now, by default, there are line spaces between each of these lines, and those line spaces are given to us by default by the PowerPoint. If you wanted to add more line spaces, I could go into this option. this button and it says control how much space appears between lines of text. So if I click on the drop down, I could pick the number 1 value, 1.5, 2.0, and so on. I could also click on line spacing options, which will give me more options to pick these line spaces. All right, next one is the left alignment. So right now by default, or I think not by default, I actually have it aligned on the left hand side. So if I click on the left hand side, everything, all the text that you see inside of my text box right here is actually aligned on the left hand side, moved on the left hand side. If I pick this option, which is center, then it will move every text inside of this box in the middle. You see, when I click on it, it moved in the middle. If I picked this one, which is align right, then it will push every line to the right hand side. That's how these three different options works. I'm gonna pick the first one again to keep it consistent with my PowerPoint presentation, and this last one about justify. Justify, what it does, it says distribute your text evenly between the margin. What are the margins? This box that you see right here, this is your margin. And if you notice, as you type in something in these margin, as soon as it hits the end of the margin, it chops the line and push it down. These are the margin. So if I wanted to justify something here, so let's say, oops, sorry, I took the bullet down. So let me delete that. Okay, so let's say if I have something written. So I have something written here on my text box. And I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to click on this new text box. I'm going to put it right here, for example. And I'm going to paste everything in here. Now, if you notice, right here, by default, it is aligned left. And anything that you see on the right hand side, as soon as this George word, if it knows that it's not going to fit in here, it's going to chop it down at the bottom. But if you want to have everything to be justified, like margin to margin, then you could click on this justify, and you see it gives spaces in the middle, so everything is justified inside, which is from this line of the box to this line of the box. So this is how justify works. All right, so I have covered everything that I wanted to cover in this lesson. The next lesson, I'm going to cover about text direction, align text, and convert to smart art. So stay tuned. I hope you learned something useful in this lesson. If you have any questions, please do send me a message. Thank you. See you in the next lesson. Hello and welcome again to my next lesson of fonts. What are we going to cover in this lesson? Types of font, font sizes, bold, italic, underline, and shadow, strike, character, letter spacing, uppercase, lowercase, and using shortcut keys. Let's get into right away. I don't want to waste your time. I want you to learn very fast so you could get your presentation started right away. All right, so for this lesson, I am using this temporary or a test slide right here. This slide, what I did is I picked from new slide and I picked the comparison slide. So that's how I got this comparison, and I already put it in Microsoft versus Google. Second section, I put it in Microsoft and Google. The third section, I put Microsoft has Windows, and the other one, Google has the biggest search engine. Something that I had in my mind, I just using it and not specific. There are so many other products Microsoft and Google has, so don't focus on, hey, this guys didn't cover this part of Google or this part of Microsoft. It's just a matter of explaining you how are we going to cover this font section, and more specifically, I'm going to cover this bold, italic, underline, shadow, spacing, striking, and different cases. So first thing first. So if you select this first, the very first section or text box, you could actually click on this heading, drop down, and you notice you could change any font size. Now also notice that it is not going to actually apply right away unless you pick it and click on it. So let's say if I wanted to pick Arial for it, and now once I click it, then it will only apply it. Now it has applied to the entire box. What if I just wanted to apply that or change that font to only Microsoft? I could select that. Then I could go down and, for example, I change Algerian for it. Perfect. So now you notice this first word has Algerian font. The second one has Arial. So that's how the font, different fonts works. Now the next one that I wanted to talk about is font sizes. So you notice that by default we have these font sizes given to us. So let's say if I pick this first one, sorry, the second text box, which is Microsoft, and right now by default it has selected 24. If I pick 20, it will reduce or shrink the size of the text. Now if you notice, this one does not have 22. That's fine. Microsoft allows you to enter the font size that is not given to you in the list. So you could simply change that to 22 by hitting the keys on your keyboard and hit enter. Now the size is 22. Isn't that awesome? Yes, it is awesome. Okay, the next one is, for example, you want to make this font. You want to leave it as Calibri, but you want to make it italic. So sorry, not italic. You want to make it bold. Right now, it is already bold. If a word or a, a whole sentence has or been bold, you're going to notice that it's already grayed out, or not grayed out, or highlighted. So if I click it again, now it's not bold, and that highlighted bold button is no more highlighted. If I wanted to make it bold, just click on bold. Same thing here. If I wanted to only bold the one letter of this entire sentence, I could do that by clicking only that word and click on bold. Next one is italic. I could just simply click on it and I could click on italic. It is going to make it italic as well. If I wanted to make Google as standout word, I could click on or highlight the Google word and click on underline, and it will underline the word Google. If I wanted to make this word and I wanted to have it a shadow, I could just click on shadow and it will make or give a little shadow in the back. So let's say if I pick this one, since it had a different font, maybe you probably not notice, but if you pick this one and you click on shadow, then you're probably going to notice that it is giving a little shadow in the back. All right. Then we have the strike through. Let's say we are talking about Microsoft or Google. You're doing comparison. Maybe you like one or the other. And let's say, hey, you know what? I like Microsoft. I'm going to go with it. I'm not going to go with Google. So you could just simply highlight it and strike through it. This way, it is not actually striking through from your slideshow. It is striking as the word itself. So if you click on the slideshow, which is right here, you're going to notice that slide Google word has been striked through as you also view it in your slideshow. All right, the next one is we have right here, which is a spacing. So if you wanted to make, for example, this Microsoft Word a little tighter because you do not have a lot of space, then you could make it very tight. You see how it's crunched in? Um, it's not a right way. This is not a professional way of presenting, so I would say not use that tight thing. You could try the tight one, which is still a little tight. I always go with normal because it does make the word stand out and I could read it through and I could read it normally. If you wanted to pick loose, as you notice, it is giving more space. Very loose, it will add more space. If you wanted to add more spacing, like customized spacing, you could click on the more spacing and it will give you more options to customize your own way. If you wanted to make it really, really like loose, you could actually enter it right here. All right, so the next one we have is uppercase, lowercase. So first one is sentence. So sentence case. So if you notice, I have this word. Google has a bigger search engine, and you notice none of them has the uppercase. If I wanted to have every sentence to have the first letter of the word to be the uppercase, I could simply click on the drop down and click on the first option, and you notice it has made the first letter as uppercase. Next option we have is lowercase. If I wanted to make the entire sentence as a lowercase, I could do that. If I wanted to make the entire sentence as the whole uppercase, you could also select that. You could capitalize each letter of each word in that sentence, and you could toggle case as well. So there are different options that you have available. You could select every box, every text box to apply these settings. You could select every word inside of that box to only apply to that specific word, or if you wanted to make that change to the entire slide text, you could simply, what I would do, I could simply just click on it, drag all the way down, and then it will select everything. Or another shortcut key of Microsoft is Control A, which highlights everything that you have on your slide, and then you could change the font the way you want. For example, I wanted to have it Times New Roman, which is a very popular font, and you wanted to change that to it, you could apply that. Now, if you wanted to make all of it bold, you could do that as well. You want all of them to be italic, you could do that as well. All right, also one last thing I wanted to cover. If you notice, as soon as you select a word, you are given this quick menu right here. So if you don't want to go to this menu, you could also use this menu right here. So what else we covered? We covered about uppercase, lowercase, and the last one is, let's talk about using the shortcut keys. What are the shortcut keys? Shortcut keys, for example, are the ones that allows you to highlight, that allows you to make a bold, italic, or underscore or underline it without clicking on these. So if you wanted to make it bold, you could click Control B on your keyboard and it will make it bold. If you wanted to make it italic, you could do Control I and it will make it italic. If you wanted to underline it, you could do Control U to make it underline. These are the few shortcut keys that you will find somewhat helpful. I hope you learned something new. I'll see you in the next lecture. Hello and welcome back. Let's continue to look at more options of paragraph. What are we going to cover in this lesson? Let's take a look. We'll cover how to add or remove columns within a text box, how we could change the text direction, alignment of the text, and convert text box to a smart art, or one specific text to a smart art. So let's get into it and see how we could cover, or how we could actually make our presentation look more professional, right? All right, let's take a look at the first one. The first one says add text to column, which is this button right here. As it says, split your text into 2 or more columns. You can also choose the width and spacing of your column, or use one of the preset format. Now, I don't have a lot of text here, so I won't be able to explain to you how this functionality works. So for this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go on the internet. I'm going to my browser. On the Google, I'm just going to simply type PowerPoint. And it's going to tell me what exactly PowerPoint is. It's a presentation program created by Robert Gaskin, and so and so. I'm just going to copy this text. I'm only copying the text. There is nothing to do why I'm going to PowerPoint. Alright, I'm going to go back into my slide. I copied it, and simply I'm going to do Control V, or just simply do paste, and it will copy that entire text that I copied from the internet. Alright, so now if you notice, everything is shown to be in one column. If I want this to be in 2 columns, I could change it to 2 columns. See right here, the first paragraph or the first wordings are all the way down to where it says all the way down to where it says right here, where it says it was, see? And once it's done it was, then it moved to the next column right here, released on April 20th. If I wanted to put them or chop them into 3 different columns, I could still do that same way. It put the entire text into 3 different columns. That's how this add or remove column works. Alright, let me delete this. Let me move on to our next one, which is text direction. What is the text direction? Text direction, if you select the text box and you go to the text direction, you click on the drop down, and you're going to see right now by default it's picked as horizontal. If you wanted to rotate your text to 90-degree, you could select this one. If you wanted to do the rotation of all text to 270, you can move it that way. And if you wanted to do it stacked, you could do this way. Stacks mean like it starts with right here A D D O R, and then it goes like this, like a swim lanes. All right, so let me change it back. That's how the text direction works. Also, this text direction also allows you to do this type of rotation as well. You see, which I have covered in previously as well. So you could also change like that. A lot of people use it like this if they wanted to change, print the flyers, and you want to have telephone numbers of yours to show up on the left hand side. You could also move it that way. All right, let me put it back the way it was. Let's talk about the line text. So right now, if you click on the line text drop down, and by default it's select to the top. If you select to the middle, you're gonna see it actually moved the text in the middle, which is aligned to this entire text box. If I wanted to move it down to the bottom, you're gonna see it moved down. That is aligned more down toward the box. All right, 1, 2. I'm gonna bring it back up. The next one is one of my favorite ones. You could do a lot of cool things about this, is convert your text into a smart art. So if you have this box selected right here, and you click on convert to smart art, it also gives you a little information about smart art is a way for you to communicate information visually rather than just using text. So if you click on the drop down, it'll give you some of the smart art images or visuals that you could change your text to. So for example, if I pick this first one, I just hover over my mouse and it's giving me a preview. See, it looks so cool now. Now it's my text looks a lot better. It shows that it is inside of a box. I put a lot of time in it to create that, but it's just simply a convert to smart art. If you go to this one, vertical block list, you could pick or hover your mouse over to any of one of them, and it will show you exactly what can you do with your text messages. Also, you could go down to more smart art graphics, which allows you to do more or customize your text into smart art. So here you have a list of everything. If you want to go by the list, process, if you're building a process, you could also select this one, and it will give you the process how it works. So if add or remove goes from there to text direction, and then from there goes to align text. So if you are building a presentation that is that talk about a process, then this is the best art that you could use. All right, let me go back. More options available on the smart art. If you go down, and there are pictures, pyramids, matrix, relationship, and all different options that you could use and you could try on with your text message. Isn't that cool? So do try them. There are many things that you could do, make your presentation look fancier by converting it to the smart art. All right, I hope you learned something new in this lesson. I'll see you in the next class, so stay tuned. Hello everyone. In this lesson we are going to cover the slide options. Slide options include new slides, and within the new slides we will cover how we have different slides available to us, how we could duplicate a slide from an outline, and reuse a slide. So without further ado, let's get into it right away and start looking into what are these options that we have available. I'm going to escape out of this slideshow by hitting escape key on my keyboard, and I'm going to open back again. Now this is in editing mode. The first thing we want to do is a new slide. So what are the new slide? This is the section that we're going to cover in this lesson. This entire section includes a new slide, layout, reset, and section. I have broken down the new slide and these three options into two different lessons. So let's cover the first part, the new slide. Now please do remember this new slides does not mean that you're adding a new PowerPoint presentation. It's about the slide, like slides that you have right here. This is what we're going to cover. If you wanted to add a new PowerPoint presentation, all you have to do is simply go to File, click New, and New or blank presentation or any of the presentation that you want to cover. But since we already have a PowerPoint, we are adding slides to it. Right now we have 3 slides. If I wanted to add a new slide, I'll simply go ahead, click on plus sign. Also, you could access this with Control M key on your keyboard. So when you click on it, by default, it'll give you 2 text boxes, one for the main title and one to add text to it. If you click on the drop down of the new slide, you're going to notice you have different Office theme slides that are available to you. First one is tile slide. Second one is tile and content. The third one is section header. The fourth one is 2 contents. If you have 2 contents that you want to add it with the main title, you could add it in here. And then content 1, content 2 right here. Then next option is comparison. Let's say if you are comparing, for example, Microsoft with Red Hat, you could type it here, comparison Microsoft versus Red Hat. Here, the best thing would be Microsoft. This one would be Red Hat. And here you could put pros and cons for Microsoft, pros and cons for Red Hat. This slide is specifically designed for this type of comparison. Also, if you notice, we have a title only. So if you just wanted to introduce title, hey, we are going to do the introduction and in these slides, then you could simply pick that slide and it will only show that specific one text box. Also, if you wanted to do content with caption, you could have title here, some text here, and the text here. So it's basically 3 text boxes, 2 on the left and 1 on the right. The last one, we have a picture with caption. If you pick this one allows you to add a title here. So let's say Microsoft. Here you could add things about Microsoft. And if you're doing presentation of Microsoft, you could add a picture of Microsoft logo on the slide. So it says click icon to add a picture. So this is the icon, click on it, and it will ask you where is your picture saved. You pick that picture, click open, and it will pull that picture into your slide. So that's how you could add a new slide. I'm going to go ahead and select all of them. Select the first one, and I'm going to press the shift key and click the down arrow key on my keyboard and simply hit delete. So I could go back to what I was explaining to you. So these are the different slides that are available to you. As you select the new slides, the design idea will also pop up and it'll give you different options. Next thing we wanted to talk about is the duplicate selected slides. So let's say if you wanted to have this slide duplicated, you could do copy and paste or simply go here, new slide, and click on duplicate selected slide. And it will duplicate the exact same slide that you have on 3 and it'll give you as number 4. Let's go ahead and delete it again. The next option that is available to us is slides from outline. What exactly that is? That is a very useful option. So what basically it is going to do for you is if you have a bunch of lines in a document, a text document, a Word document, and you want to import those lines and you want to create slides out of those lines, you could simply click on slides from outline and it will import those and create a slide of everything that you have listed on it. For example, let me go to my desktop and you notice I have a Word document called Seinfeld Cast. If I open it, you're going to see the characters of Seinfeld, for example, Jerry, George, Elaine, and Cosmo Kramer. These are the 4 characters of the famous TV hit show Seinfeld. If I am working on a PowerPoint presentation where I have to go through each one of the characters as to in terms of what they do, I could simply close this down, go back to my PowerPoint presentation, click on New Slide, click on Slide from Outline. Then it's going to ask me where is that file located from where you want to import the contents. This is my file. I click on Insert. As soon as it brings or import that file content into it, you're going to notice it has created slide for every line that I had in that file. Isn't that cool? Yes, it is. It saves you a lot of time, especially when you have so many lines or you're creating so many PowerPoint slides, so you don't have to actually copy paste. You could simply import all of them. Once again, I'm going to go ahead and delete these slides. Now the next option I have is reuse a slide. This is also a very useful options available to us. So when you click on reuse slides, which means that it's asking you if you have a PowerPoint deck or you have PowerPoint presentation that you created maybe a year ago, and you do know that you could reuse one of those slides that you created earlier. You don't have to create it all over from scratch. You could use this option. This is a great option. So when you click on it, it's going to ask you where is that PowerPoint presentation from where you want to pull the slides from. It's going to ask you to browse. I'm going to click on browse, and I'm going to click on this PowerPoint slide presentation Seinfeld cast that I created to explain to you how this thing works. Select it and click open. As soon as you click open, it's going to tell you, hey, I found 2 slides from that PowerPoint presentation. Which slide do you want to select? I like slide number 2, so I'm just going to simply click on slide 2 and it will import that specific slide for you. Isn't that cool? Yes, it is. I do find it very useful whenever you are working on different slides, and or if you are short on time and you want to reuse or recycle your slides previously that you created under the PowerPoint presentation. That's the best option. All right, so guys, we covered about the new slides. These are different options we have available: duplicating slides, slides from outline, reusing a slide. In our next lesson, we are going to cover how the layout, reset, and section functions work. I hope you learned something new in this lesson. I'll see you in the next lesson. Hello and welcome back. We are going to continue our lesson on fonts. And this is all about how we could change the way our text looks. What are we going to cover in this lesson? Let's take a look. We're going to cover changing font sizes with simple clicks. We know we could change the font sizes by the drop down menu, right? But I'll also show you a quick way to make that change. Also, how we could clear formatting, highlighting text, changing text color, using the right click options. All right, let's get into it, and I'm going to go back to my slide, and for this lesson I am going to use this slide that I have created really quick for you. All right, the first thing first, changing font size with simple clicks. So this is a slide I have. It's about Seinfeld characters. You already know what are the Seinfeld characters. So I'm going to just pick this very first text box. I'm going to go into my home menu, and right here you're going to notice this is the options or menu option that we have available, which says increase font size, make your text a bit bigger. So right now, if you notice, by default it is set to 6. So if I click on it, it makes it 66. If I click on it again, it makes it 72. Just like that, I could also make it reduced or shrink it by clicking on the right next button, which is this: 60, 54, 48. Now the question is, how is it picking these numbers? It is basically picking these numbers as they are defined in this list. So if you notice right now it's set to 48. If I click on shrink again or to reduce the size of the text, by default it will go to 44. Let's take a look. So right now it's 44, 48. If I click on this one, it will go down to 44. See how it works? So these two quick buttons that are available to us is basically um, to change the font size, which is exactly like this. All right. The other one we have is reformatting. So let me take a look if this is what we're going. Clear formatting, sorry. Yes, so the second part we're covering is clear formatting. Let's go back in. So let's say I make the format of this to a different to a different font. So right now the format for this is Calibri light heading, and it is set to 44. There's no bold, no italic, no underline. Let's say if I change it to something else. I change it to Arial. I make it a lot bigger, 60. I want it to be italic, and I want it to be underlined. So this is my new format of this text box. Let's say I come back and I say, you know what? I don't like that. I want it to be the same way it was. All you have to do is click on this button. It says clear all formatting, and it will bring you back to Calibri light headings 60. None of them is bold, italic, or underlined. That's what clear formatting does for us. All right, next one, for example, we have is the highlighter. So this highlighter has a different colors. You could pick any colors you want. Now, is it going to change the color of the text? No. It is actually going to highlight the text, just like as if you have a highlighter and you wanted to highlight that text while you're reading a book. This this option or this button does exactly the same thing. So let's say I wanted to highlight in this text box, I wanted to highlight Kramer. The reason I wanted to highlight Kramer is because this character in Seinfeld's show was referred to as Kramer, not as Cosmo. He was referred to as with his last name. So anyway, so I wanted to make that highlighted, so I could just simply click on it and it will highlight that specific text. If I wanted to highlight a different word or even a specific letter inside of that word, I could do that as well, and I could change the color to the color that I want. For example, I wanted to have it a pink or a little reddish. I could do that as well. The next option we have available is changing the actual font color. This is about these font colors. Let's say I wanted to change it to a different color. So first of all, let me clear this formatting. I'm going to click on clear formatting again. You see all the colors, all the text, everything went away. Now I'm going to select this entire text box and I am going to change the color of this text that inside of text box to, let's say, red. See, it changed it. If I wanted to change it to a different color, these are the colors, the color themes that I have available. These are the standard colors that I've been using. These are these are standard colors that are available, and these are the recent colors that I've been using for my other PowerPoint presentation. Let's say if you wanted to change the color to a different color and that color is not shown in any of these given colors to us, then what we could do is we could go into more colors and we could pick the colors. There are more colors here, or you could go to custom and change it the way you want. Or if you know the exact color code, you could also enter that color code right here and it will make that color for you. So if you, let's say if you are in HTML coding or something and you wanted to use some different color, you could also make that color. All right. One another thing is, so we learned how to highlight the text. Highlight, I covered that you could just simply highlight the entire text, or you could simply highlight the entire text box. Then we covered changing text box color. Now we're going to go over using the right click option. So right click option, when you double click on the word, right away it gives you that font options again. You could also pick these options right here and you could change the color, you could highlight the color, and you could do all those things that we have just covered. You could also add a comment to it that, hey, like for example, I added this text on 2020, or the date, or whatever that you wanted to put it in. That's up to you. You could add that text or that comment over there. So this way, if someone is making the change to PowerPoint presentation, you could come back and take a look who made that change because it has comment in there. So to quickly go through the recap, we learned how to change the font sizes, cleaning, formatting, highlighting text, changing text color, and using different options through the right click options. I hope you learned something new. I'll see you in the next lecture. Welcome back again. The last two items was functionality that I wanted to talk about within the shape format menu are arrange and size. So again, once you select an object or a text box, automatically that shape format menu pops up. Within that shape format menu, the last two things that I want to talk about is arrange and size. Now, if you remember, I have already talked about range in my previous few slides back. You already know how you could bring an object backward or bring it forward. Just to go back real quickly about it, so if you have this picture right here, you move this over to your text message and you notice your text message is hiding behind this object. Now if you want to bring your text message in front, all you have to do is select that text box, simply go to your shape format and click on bring forward and click it like this, and you notice now you could see it and it's in front of that object. So this whole arranging part, it talks about how you could bring it, how you can move it, how you could align it left, right, whichever the way you want to align it depending on the slide. Okay, so another quick way, when you have selected a shape and you go into shape format, under the arrange, you notice align. Again, I have already talked about align, but to give you a quick recap, align aligns your object to the top, left, right, center, or anyway. So if you have two objects, for example, one is right here, and I wanted to add another one, so I'll just go insert, add text box, and I'll say this is the second text box. So now you notice I moved this right here, and this one is to, for example, to the left. If I wanted to have both of these boxes, text boxes, to be aligned, let's say vertically, I could simply hold on to the control key to the first box, select the second box, both boxes are selected. Now I could go to shape format, align, and I could do align left or align center. You see right here it is aligned exactly center. I could also do align left, and now both of these boxes are aligned to the left. I don't have to drag and drop these boxes to adjust to the object right above it. So anyway, that's how the aligning of the object works. You could align it one object, or you could align multiple objects together. All right, the last thing I wanted to talk about under the shape format is the size. So if you notice the size right here, this size actually talks about not the size of your text that is inside of your object. So right now our object is the text box. If you wanted to make this size bigger, or you wanted to make the size smaller, you could, the much simpler, easier way, you could simply do drag and drop. But if you wanted to follow the some exact same size that you have, maybe it's given to you by some application design or something, then you could actually go into the size and basically input that number in there. So right now you could see it's 4.17 by 5 by 17. So you could simply do a 6 by 7 if that's the number you have, and it will arrange it for you. So you could also change it, let's say 4 by 5, and it'll make it smaller for you. There are other options that are available to you under size, so you could, I'm sure, look through it. Very easy, self-explanatory. Three main options are given to you, and there is a size, position, and text box. Anyway, if you have any questions around these that I'm going through pretty fast, please do let me know. I'm always here to help my students. See you next time. Hello everyone and welcome to our new lesson about drawings. We have a lot to cover in the drawings and there are so many beautiful things that we could use under the drawing menu that could make our presentation or our slide look so beautiful. So first thing that we wanted to talk about that is within the drawing are the shapes. There are many different shapes that we could pick from Microsoft that PowerPoint that has given us so many styles, so many shapes, and some of them that we will cover are like text boxes, circles, squares, or arrows. Or these are the things that we want to cover, and there are so many of them, I promise you. So let's stick around. So I'm going to show you exactly first things about shapes. So when you select the shapes box, for example, I'm going to take the same PowerPoint or the same slide, and I'm going to explain to you how it works. So I'm going to go home menu, and right here you see these little icons that you see where my cursor, where my circle is pointing. This is all about the shapes. First thing that you see from the shape is always text box. This is the most powerful shape or text box that I use, or I found it very useful every time I need to create a slide. What it does is, no matter if you have a new slide and you create slides with different themes that gives you the text boxes. What if you wanted to do your own text boxes? Then this comes the text boxes to your rescue. Simply click on it. As soon as you click on it, you're going to see you're going to get a little vertical line with a little line crossing it. You could just drag, click your mouse, drag and drop anywhere, and you could type anything. So this lesson we will cover about shapes. Oops, shapes. All right, so you could also move this text box any way you want, and as I told you before, you could also change the way it looks. See, you could spin it around. Oops, come on, come on, come on. Okay, you could also make it move it from right to left or from left to right, whichever the way you want. Also, you could copy, right click, copy and paste it as well, and it will become the same text box. So text box is very important. Anywhere you want to add text to your slide, simply go ahead and click on this little icon right here and it gives you that text box. All right, next one is the line. If you are making a picture or a line or anything like that, you could make your own line. You could make your own drawing with that line. So if you are making, let's say, a plus sign, so you click on one and click back again, and then you click the next one. That gives you a plus sign. But if you're making a square, so you could do 1, 2. Oops, sorry, I made a mistake, but that's okay. I think you got my point. And 3, and you could just connect them together. See? This is how you could make the shapes. Next one you have is the arrow shape, so line arrow. So you can click on it, you can make a line arrow. You can also move it around. See, you can move around whichever the way you want by clicking on this little handle and dragging and moving it around whichever the way you want. All right, let me just simply go ahead and delete these. Okay, also look at this. This one is a rectangle. You can make the rectangle. As soon as you click on rectangle, by default it gives you a color blue. You could also double click inside of rectangle and type something that you wanted to type, like hello world. See, it gets typed. And you could also change the color of this by clicking on this one. See, it changes the font. Now, if you want to change the color of the entire box, you have to click on Shape Fill, which we'll cover later on, I promise. So let me go ahead and delete that. Just like that, we have other things like circle. So circle is the one that I also use many times. So you could move the circle like that. You could make the circle oval, horizontal, or you could make the circle as a vertical circle, oval, sorry, whichever the way you want. Again, if you do not want to have anything inside of it, you could go here and say shape fill, and you could just say no fill, and it just give you that circle. See right here, that circle. If you wanted to make that circle, you could make that circle. If you wanted to change the color of that circle, you see right here it says shape outline. You could click on it and click on this, and it changes the color to black. So these are about the shapes. More shapes. This is another shape which is a free form. Let's say you wanted to put this whole text box within a shape, but you don't have the exact shape that you want, you could make your own shape. That's fine. You see right there? See, you have the power to do whatever. There you go. This is your shape. Now you can move around this shape whichever the way you want. You can make this shape bigger. You can small this shape the way you want. All right, let me delete that. There are many shapes which I'm going to cover next. There are lines that we do know. There are rectangles, which allows you to make a rounded corner rectangles, or the rectangles with that has diagonal corners snipped or shaved from the left and top right. Also in the basic shape, there are many shapes that I also use in my presentation. Like for example, I use this one which says not allowed. If you notice, let's say if you're going to a do not enter road and you see it says this sign right there, this is what it looks like. So you could again click inside of it and it'll give you that blinking cursor, and you could type do not enter, right? You could also change the color of this shape again by going to shape fill, and let's say usually do not enter are red, and that's how do not enter looks like. There are also arrow shapes that you wanted to use, like this one. Again, I use these type of arrow shapes. Let's say if I wanted to connect this one with this thing, I could also move and drag this like this. I could also use this little handle right here to move it around the way I want if I wanted to connect this to that. So let's say I move this and this up here and this down here, and again this will give me the way I want and right here. So you could connect right this shape to this one if you wanted to make two things together. Also, there are equation shapes, there are flowchart shapes, there are star banner shapes. Star banner shape, for example, if you are making a presentation of, let's say for your son, and he wants you to make a presentation of twinkle twinkle little star, you pick a star, you make a whole bunch of star for him. So you could make one star, right click, copy, and right click, paste. And then you can move it around, right click, paste again, you have a third star. Right click again, you have a fourth star, as many stars that you want. Also, there are many of them right here. Let's say if you are making a sign for your store, let's say you own a store and you have a huge sale in your store, you could also use this type of stars and banners, and you could go like this and double click inside and says, let's say 50% off. Oops, not off. And you could make this sign as big as you want if you're making this slide or this flyer for your store or your any retail store, anything you're working on, anything you wanted to put the sale on. So anyway, we covered about shapes, text boxes, circles, squares, and arrows. Next lesson, we are going to cover about arranging and, of course, quick style. So I'll see you in the next lesson, guys. Stick around. Hello again, folks. This is the lesson where we are going to cover the basic of editing, such as cut, copy, paste, duplicate, and format painter. These are the few things that everybody has to know in order to work a lot faster. Instead of you just typing it again and again, we could use these shortcut tools to copy and paste or even duplicate some of the font, text, or painting. So let's take a look how it's going to work. So this is my slide. I just escape out of it. So now the first thing I have to do right now by default, it is on animation tab. I'll go to the home tab. In the home tab, as soon as you select the text message, you're going to see on the left hand side, this is the part that we are going to cover in this lesson, as exactly how the paste works, cut, copy, format painter, all those things work. That is categorized under the section of clipboard. So first thing first, let's say we can move around, which we know how we can move around the entire box of text. Now let's say if we wanted to cut this and paste it somewhere else. So simply you do cut and select inside again and go to paste, and it will paste it back again. Also, you could do this with the shortcut keys. Shortcut keys meaning on your keyboard, if you hit Control X, it will perform the same function as cutting. And then if you do Control V, then it will paste back the content or whatever that you have cut, and it will paste it. These are the shortcut keys. So now that's about the pasting work. So now if you notice, let's say if I'm going to cut it again, and under the paste I've been given two options. So if you click on that drop down menu, the first option says use the destination theme, meaning whatever the destination, using its font, color, and the size, whatever that is, I want you to copy the source and merge into the destination formatting. The next one is says a picture. So if you have that, if you wanted to set it up as picture, it will come in as a picture as well. So now you see right side, as soon as you paste this as a picture, you see you cannot click inside of it because PowerPoint is treating this as a picture, not like as an editing a box or a text box. So let me go back to home. Let me undo to keep it as editing box. Editing box. Okay, so now I'm gonna just Control V and I make sure I could click inside. Okay, so yes, I could click inside. So basically that's the difference between this one and that one. If you wanted to paste a text box as a picture, then you use this one. All right, next one, as we have already covered, how you could do the cut and how you could do the copy. Now, instead of you doing cut and copy, there's another shortcut way. Let's say if you wanted to make a copy of it and then you're going to paste it, instead, why not just duplicate it? So just select the entire box, click on the drop down of the copy, and then click on duplicate. This is going to duplicate the exact same text box. Nice? Good. Let's delete that again. And the last one that I wanted to cover that is inside of the clipboard category is the format painter. This is, think of this as if you have a paint box, a gallon of paint, right? You have a brush, and as soon as you dip your brush into, let's say, a yellow paint, you could take the brush out and paint it somewhere else, right? Just like that. We're going to use this option to dip our brush and paint it somewhere else. So let's say I take, I make a copy of this. So first copy, and then I paste it. So it is pasted, right? So now I have these two text editors. So now here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change it to X, Y, Z, or ABC, or a BAC, whatever. Let me change it to ABC. Just some text that I type. Now, if I change the color of this, for example, I come here and I change the shape fill to, let's say, orange, and I change the font to, let's say, Calibri. So now the color is changed, the font is changed, and right here in this box you see the font is different, color is different. Now if you wanted to make the same font and the same color from here to here, you don't have to actually go in and change it here. All you have to do is select this, click on Format Painter, bring your paint brush right here, and click on this, and it will bring that same color and same font and the font size, everything exactly that you have here into this box. Isn't that easier and so convenient? Yes, I find it very easy. So anyway, these are the few things I wanted to cover in this lesson. Hope in this lesson you learned something new. If not, that is great. We still have a lot of new things that we're going to cover in this entire training. So stay tuned. Hello again and welcome to the Shape Format menu. This is a menu that pops up every time you select a shape. So what are we going to cover in these lectures? The first things are the insert shapes. Second is shape style, word art style, accessibility, arrange, and size. The reason I have the first two highlighted in in this slide is because in this lesson, this specific one, we are going to cover only the first two bullet points, which is insert shape and shape styles. The remaining ones I will cover in the following lessons. So let me escape out of it and let me start looking into it right away, as in terms of what is insert shapes and what is shape style. We all know what a shape is, right? So anything that you draw from this, so we are right now in the home menu, and you see right here, these are all the different shapes. You could select the text box, you could make a shape out of it, or any of these shapes that are available to you. So as soon as I select this shape, which is this object, also referred into PowerPoint as an object, as soon as you selected this, you're going to notice one thing right away, that it's going to give you an additional menu, which is right here, shape format. And this is what we're going to talk about in this lesson and the coming couple of lessons. So what are we talking about? Again, we're going to talk about insert shapes, shape styles, word art styles, accessibility, arrange, and size. These are the few things we'll talk about in shape format. So most of the times when you select an object, you will be given a second or a new pop-up menu. So as you notice, I unchecked this shape and that menu has disappeared. So when I check it back again, now I'm back again into the shape format. All right, let me get into insert shapes real quick. So we all know we have insert shapes. You could go in, and if you wanted to add more shapes, you could actually pick any one that you want from the list that you're given to you. So it is just that simple. Second one is edit shape. So if you click on the drop down, you could actually change the way your shape is looking right now. This one most likely would work with the actual shapes like rectangle, square. So what I'll do to just demonstrate, what I'll do is I'll take the rectangle, I'll draw the rectangle out right here. And now, as soon as I draw it, the shape is selected and I'm under shape format. I'll go back into shape, edit shape, change shape picture, and I could actually change the way I want. So let's say if I realize, hey, I didn't want a rectangle, I wanted it to be a triangle. So I click on this one and it changes to triangle. So that's what you could make changes to the shape format. Also, if you click on drop down menu, you could also click on the endpoints. This is to allow you to edit. So if you click on this, you could actually make changes by doing a really fine grain tuning. So if you wanted to move like this, you see, you can move that like that. If you wanted to make this more longer, like this, you could also do this. So you could make changes by clicking on the editing points. All right, next one I wanted to talk about is the text box. So text box, everyone knows what a text box is. Right here, there's a text box as well, and in addition to that, we have a text box here as well. So when I click on it, I could make another text box and type whatever that I want. Got it. All right, so that's about this first shape format, which I go back in and insert shapes. The second one I want to talk about in this lesson specifically is this shape styles. Shape styles, we have been given so many shape styles from Microsoft PowerPoint predefined shapes. You could pick those. Make sure you have selected the entire shape box. Let's say I've selected this one, and then you could click on the drop down and you could make changes to whatever the shape or color that you or texture that you want with your shape. The next one is shape fill. We have already talked about that. Shape outline, yes, we have covered that, and shape effect as well. These are the additional options. Sorry, not additional options. These are the duplicated options that you get under the shape format. If you wanted to make changes, you could make it under the shape format, or you could go back into the home page and you could make the same changes right here as well. So basically, the shape format gives you a little more to making the format changes. So in the next lesson, I am going to cover the word art and accessibility. So stay tuned. I'll see you in the next lesson. Hello again and welcome to our editing lesson. This is the lesson where we're going to cover how to find something on our entire PowerPoint presentation. We will also cover how we could find and replace them, meaning we could replace the text or we could even replace the fonts. And the last one, how we could select an object. So let's go and see how all three of them work. Let me escape out of this, and I'm going to show you that the editing options that is under home. So what we're going to cover here is this part right here, this editing part, which has find, replace, and select. First things first is find. So let's say I have something in my slide that's called a line. Now I have probably like 100 slides and I don't know which slide is that. I could go into each slide and look for them, or I could just simply go and click find, and I could do find what? I could do align. There is a word align, or I'm looking to align something in my PowerPoint presentation. I know that is part of one of the presentation slides, so I'm going to look for that word. I click next, and it's going to take me to that PowerPoint slide that has the word align. That's what the find function does, and it is very useful, especially when you're dealing with so many slides on your presentation. All right, going back to our slide or our lesson that we are working on, the next one is the replace. The replace one is also a very powerful functionality of PowerPoint where you could replace a word that you search for and then you could replace it to something else. So let's say we go into replace and click on drop down and pick the first one that says replace. It's going to ask us replace, meaning first of all, before replace, what do you want to replace? First, I want to replace align, so which is already typed there. So I'm going to type it again, A-L-I-G-N. Next one, replace it with what? Now, what do you want to replace it with? I want it to have replaced with fix. And then simply I'm going to say replace all. When I click on replace all, it says PowerPoint search your presentation and made 4 replacements, meaning it did find 4 words that matched a line, and I know where that is. So if I go into my slide, one of my slide up there where we did the search again, and you're gonna see I have this fix, 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 these 3 ones. So these 3 ones have been fixed, and there was another one. It says it did 4 of them actually, so not just one. So let me find, click on fix, and see which 4th one it did. Right here, the next one. So you see it was align and it changed it to fix. Now I wanted to change it back. I will do replace, and now this time I wanted to change fix with align, and I wanted to do replace all. It replaced again. It says it did 4 replacement. Perfect. Now the next one is right below it. You're gonna notice it has 2 different options. One is match case, meaning if I check this, then if I wanted to replace align with fix, and I say, you know what, match case, meaning if I have lowercase a, then I only want you to look for words that has lowercase a align in it and then replace it with fix. So only when I select this one, then it's going to go in, try to find them, and it's not going to find anything. It says we couldn't find what you're looking for because there isn't any word that has align with lowercase a. So that is why if you select this, it will only look exactly that one. The next option is find whole words only. So what it means is if I have this word right here, it says align left. So if I take that space out, now it has align left, but it's the whole word is read as line left as if it's one word. So if I select this one, if it says find whole words only, and I do align, and I want to replace it with fix and do replace all, you're going to notice this time it's going to say PowerPoint search or presentation made 3 replacement only. Why? Because it did not replace it this line left, because it sees it as a whole word. So if you have that option selected, then make sure it is not combined together. Alright, so I'm just gonna close this now, and I'm gonna go back to our align with the way it was, and I'm gonna come down to the slide, and I'm gonna go into the second option of the replace, which is replace font. Before I do this, I want to type in a text box. Let's say I wanted to do as Jerry. Okay, now Jerry, I wanted to pick a font for Jerry as, for example, Times New Roman. Okay, now what I could do is I could do a search to find a specific font and replace it with a different font. Isn't that cool? Let's do that. Replace font. Now what font that you want to replace? Now by default it's giving me New Times Roman because I have that selected. So if I don't, let's say if I'm in this slide, right, and I go back in and I do replace font, and it's here it says replace what? Now I'm gonna pick the one Times New Roman, and I wanted to change it to what? Change it to, for example, anything that is something funny looking. So Poor Richard, and replace. As soon as you do that, replace, close, go back to that slide where it says Jerry. You see the font has changed and the font is Poor Richard. That's how the replacement works. A lot easier. You don't have to go into every slide, select every slide, change the font if you don't like the font. Or even let's say you do the presentation for your boss and your boss says, you know what, I love the presentation, but please get rid of this font. I really don't like it. Then what are you gonna do? You're gonna come back on every slide and change the font? No, please don't do that. So I'm showing you the best and easier way. If your boss said that, don't worry about it. Tell your boss, yes, boss, I'm on it. Simply you go in and click on replace and replace font, and it'll replace it for you. All right, and let me go ahead and delete that. The next one I want to cover is select. The select one, the first select option from the drop down is select all. So meaning when you select this, it will select every object that you have on your screen. So right now I have 3 objects, 1, 2, and 3. So it selected all of them for me. The next option we have is select objects. First one, select all objects. Second one, select object. This one, as it says, if you read the second paragraph, it says this is especially useful when working with objects that are behind the text. So if you have objects, for example, this is the object that's behind this text, then you could select this, select the object, and then you could drag and drop like this, and you're going to notice that it has selected both objects for you. All right, go back to the way it was, and the last one is selection pane. Click on this one. This one is useful when you have a lot of let's say objects on one slide, a lot of text on one slide. So let's say if I have insert online picture, I'm gonna do apple. I'm gonna insert an apple, and then I'm gonna go back in, insert online, and I'm gonna insert orange, and now I have orange inserted. So now I have 2 objects here. So if you notice one thing, let me get rid of this. This is orange, this is apple, and I'm gonna make so many copy paste of this that you're gonna notice apple, 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 apple. Okay, now I know there's so many apples. So if you notice, now these are so many objects that you have on the slide, so busy stuff, right? Now you don't know where is this one, where is this one. Maybe it's hidden underneath like this, but you're trying to find the 5th apple, but you cannot find it. You only see 1, 2, 3, 4. Where do I find the 5th apple? Now the best way to do it is if you go into this selection and click selection pane, which we are on right now. Let's click back again, selection. selection pane. Now the easier way to find that fifth apple is by going through the picture. 1, you see, no, this is not the object that we're looking for. 2, no. 3, no. 4, no. 5, no. 6, that's the one. And it is hidden under, oops, it was this. And I'm going to simply drag this out. You see how I drag this out? It was hidden behind other objects. So that is why this selection, when you select and selection pane, is very useful when you have so many objects on your slide. And then at one point you know that there is an object but it's hidden somewhere. This will come for your rescue. All right, this is all about the editing, and what we have learned is about finding, replacing, and selecting your objects. I hope you learned something new in this one. Again, if you have any questions, please do let me know. I'm always here to help you out. See you in the next lecture. Hello, charming people, and welcome back again. And we are continuing our lesson on drawing. And this time we are going to wrap up our drawing lesson, and the last two things or the last two functionality that are within drawing are shape effects and format shape. All right, let's go over it real quickly and let's wrap this up real fast. Okay. First of all, every time you need to make any drawing or any changes or any effects to any objects, you have to make sure that object is selected, like this, like that, or that. So let's say we are picking the same object that we have, and we want to go to shape effects. Now, you could hover your mouse over, don't click on it, and it will tell you apply a visual effect to the selected shape, such as shadow, glow, reflection, or 3D rotation. Sounds fun. Let's click on the drop down. In the drop down, these are the few options that you have available. Present, and these are the things that you could make changes to. So let's say if you wanted to make this selected object to a different shape, let's say like this one. See how cool it looks? As if you have these things written on a piece of slide or some kind of a metal plate. If you wanted to do it this way, you could do that way too, and as well as this. So there are many different presets that you could use. Same thing, you could come down to shadow. You don't have to select it. You could just move your mouse around and you will see how the effect will make your text look so different, or it will stand out so differently. Let's go to reflection. The reflection one gives you the reflection at the bottom of it. So if you pick this one, if you notice, it'll give you the reflection at the bottom. But let me pick a different shape for you so it will be a lot easier for you to know. So let me pick a star, and I'm going to make the star here. Double click inside, and I'm going to call it star. Okay, now star is there. Go back into shape effect, reflection, and I'm going to move my mouse over to tight reflection. And if you notice, I haven't clicked on it yet, but it has given me a preview. If I select this one, you see it's giving a reflection at the bottom as if this star is sitting on top of water. All right, glow. You have different glow variations here. As you move your mouse, you're going to see how it's going to change, or how it's going to look, how it's going to change the way your star looks like. Next one is soft edges. If you want to make the edges really soft, you could do that as well. Bevel. You could change the bevel setting. See? It changes inside, it changes outside. And the last one is 3D rotation. So if you wanted to change it left or right, whichever way that you wanted to do, you could change it that too. Also, going to the text box. Text box also looks very cool on the bevel side as well. So if you select this one, sorry, not the text box, I meant to say the 3D rotation one. So if you select this one, see how it moves around, how it changes around. See, the text box also shows the same way as it is shown right here, like off axis. Alright, so this is how you do your shape effects. The next one I wanted to talk about is format shape. The format shape is comes when you actually click on this object first of all, and you're gonna see this little arrow right here. This is what it's gonna tell you: format shape. Make fine-tune adjustment to the look of your shape using the format shape task pane. So let's click on this, and now it's gonna open up a format shape on the right hand side. Alright, this gives us three options right here. First the color, then effects, and the last one size and properties. Within the color, let's say if I want to fill this. Right now there is no fill. Let's say if I want to fill with solid color, click solid, and now which one do you want to pick the color? By the way, you see it has changed the effect because I have changed before the shape effect to this one, the bevel one. See right now the bevel one selected. If I don't select this one, it will change it too. If I select a different one, it will change that too. Anyway, so right now the fill, solid fill, you want to do gradient. You could also change that. Picture texture. Oops, it's doing the whole slide because I didn't select the object. Let me move that. Okay, let me select the object. Now if I do gradient, picture, pattern, slide backfill. These are all the different options that you have, and these will allow you to do fine tuning with that. Makes your PowerPoint presentation look like a really, really professional PowerPoint. Also the same way, filling inside, you can also do the same thing by doing it outside, which is the line one. So right now, if there's no line, you want to put a line, so click solid line. See, right now it has a solid line onto it. Similarly, let me go back. Okay, solid line, gradient line, any lines that you want to pick. Next one is effect. If you want to change the effect, it looks like so. The same, some of the settings are the same that we talked about in the shape effects. If you want to have a glow with a different glow, you want to have soft edges, 3D format, or if you want to change it to 3D rotation. There's so many settings that you could do, and I'll tell you one thing. Sometimes I feel like there is a lecture or a whole training within a training itself. So if I spend so much time on formatting the shape, trust me, it'll take me an hour. But I just wanted to give you an idea that you could change so many things, so many of your objects, and make it look professional by going through these shape effects and formatting a shape. Alright, so this actually covers our entire topic of what? Drawing. Yes, so this is where we finishes, and what we have learned as a quick recap, we covered about different shapes, arranging your text or shapes, quick styles, shape fill, shape outline, shape effects, and formatting a shape. There's so many things you could do with your objects. Try it out. If you have any questions, I'm always here to help you guys out. All right, I see you in the next and new section, new lecture. Welcome back again to our lesson of drawing. We continue continue exploring the different options about drawing, and in this lesson we are going to cover about arrange options and quick styles. So let me escape out of my presentation or slide view, and I'm going to show you real quick how arrange and quick style works. So if you select this text box and you go to home, and right here inside of this drawing you have this arrange option. See, arrange, what it does, if you click on it, it will give you a few options like order objects. So remember all these things that we're talking about, this box, this box, this box, these are all referred to as objects to PowerPoint. The way we could use this arrange is we could arrange these objects to the left or to the right or behind or in front. So let's say if I take this and move it to the right, and you notice as I'm moving it or merging it to this picture, the text message is actually kind of like going behind that image. Now if you wanted to bring that text message in front of this image, you click on arrange and simply click bring to front, and you see it brought that to front. Oops, not that, this. See, it brought that to front. Now you could read it. If you want to send it back, let's say if you move this right here And you see right now it's in the front, and you want to send it back, you simply click back, and you see now you don't see that text message because it's behind this circle of drawing. All right, next one we have bring forward. What bring forward does, as it reads, bring the selected object forward one level. So it is hidden behind fewer objects. So what it means is, if you have this object, right? If you have this, and if you have this, you have two objects. Let's say you have a third one too. So I'm going to copy paste here. So now I have three objects. So close this. Now in three objects, let's say if I move this in these three objects. See, right now my text is hiding behind three objects. If I select arrange again and click on bring forward, it will bring one step forward, meaning it will bring forward from one of the object. So right now you see it is bringing from one of the objects. You probably don't see. Let me change the font. Okay, so if I click again, bring forward, you see it is bringing forward one object right here. See, it is still hiding behind this object, it's still hiding behind this object, but it's not hiding up behind this object. That's what exactly the bring forward does. Send backward does the same thing. It goes one step at a time. Sorry, I have to select the same thing, one object at a time, and it will send it back to the different objects the way you want to send it as many times as you can. All right, next one is about grouping. So let me do undo and let me bring it back the way it was. So it's gonna take me a couple of undos. That's perfectly fine. All right, right here, one more. Okay, that's it. I'll move this over here. All right, next one is about grouping. So grouping objects. Again, as I said, this is object, this is object, this is object. You could group them together. Right now, there are three different objects. But since we selected this as a theme, office theme, we cannot combine them. However, if you are creating a new text message, so let's say text message 1. So I'm going to call it, let's say, cat. Next one, I'm going to create another one, and I'm going to call it dog. And I know these are the two objects I have, 1 and 2. So now they are part of 2. So if I wanted to put both of them together, I could do one thing is I could go in here and hit enter and type in dog here, which will put cat and dog, sorry, not bog, cat and dog in one object. So you could type that, of course, but what if you don't want to type? What if you have a lot of text in one object and a lot of text in other objects? So what do? Then what you have to do is simply select this one, shift, and select that one. So click on the shift key on your keyboard and then click mouse and it will select both objects. Then simply go to arrange and click on group and it will group it together. Now you see, now you have both of them as showing up as one object. Isn't that cool? Yes, I do use them a lot of times to create an object, because when we get into animation, this animation will actually move the object in an animated way. So if you wanted to move two objects at the same time, this grouping feature becomes very handy. So keep that in mind. All right, I'm going to go ahead and delete it. Next one is same thing. You could ungroup it, you could regroup it again. Alignment. So this alignment, remember, this alignment is not the same alignment as the alignment right here. This aligns the text inside of a text box, not the text itself, not the text box itself. If I click on the alignment right here, it will align. If I click on align left, it will align it according to the slide, not according to the text box. So if I click it, you see it moved it to the left according to the slide. If I clicked it align to, let's say, at the bottom, see, it brought it at the bottom. If I do it in the middle, right here, see, it brought it to the middle. That's how this alignment works. So top, so if I do center, it will bring it exactly at the center with the exact same distance from the left, from the right. That's how you do the alignment of the object. This is the object. If I do the same thing with this one and I say, hey, you know what, align that to center, it will also bring it to the center. So it works with any object that you have. All right, let me move this back. All right, another cool thing I have to show you that is under drawing, arrange, and align. As you could see, I was aligning my object, one single object, to left and right. Now, you could also align multiple objects at the same time. What does it mean? Let's say if I have this object, this text box, and I make a copy of it and I right click and paste. Now I have two of them. So let's call it second object. And the same way, I'm going to create another one and I'm going to call it third object. Okay, now you notice one thing is this object is on the left side, this object in the middle, and this object text box is on pretty much in the middle of these two objects. Now what if I want to have all three these objects to be aligned straight in the middle or to the right or to the left? We could also use this functionality, use this alignment to arrange all of them together in one center or one left or right. Isn't that cool? So for that, what you have to do, first of all, you have to select the objects that you want to align. I want to select all three of them. So what I will have to do is I will click on the object, the first one, and then I will hold down the control key on my keyboard and select the second one. And I won't let it go until I select the third one. Now I have all three objects selected. Now I could simply go to Arrange, Align, and let's say if I wanted to align them in the center. There you go. See how cool it is? Trust me, I find it very, very useful because this way I don't really have to like manually like drag it and drop it and make sure if it's aligned correctly or not. So that is why you could have not only alignment for one object, but you could have the alignment any way, any which way you want for multiple objects as well. Let me go ahead, delete it now. The next one is rotation. You guys already know this. You could rotate the object or text any way you want. There are more options to the object as well. The next last one is selection pane. See a list of all objects. This makes it easier to select objects, change their order, or change their visibility. These are all the objects, and if you wanted to see different objects, you see object 4, picture 4 is right here. Subtitle 2 is this one. Title 1 is that one. Rectangle is this box. You could change the order it works, move it around whichever, or you could change even the caption by double clicking it and change what they are called. Alright, so this is about arrange. Let's go over really quickly on the quick style. As it says quick style, I'm going to simply click on the drop down menu and you're going to see a whole bunch of theme styles. You could pick any one that you like. See, as you hover over your mouse to any of these, it will give you a preview of how these text messages will look like. Anyway, this is how I'm going to cover the quick style because it's very easy, self-explanatory. I'm sure you know how it works. So this whole lecture is about arranging and quick styling. There are more to drawing, so stay tuned. Again, I hope this lesson served its purpose. You learned something new. Stay tuned. I'll see you in the next lecture. Welcome back again, folks. This is the lesson where I'm going to continue talking about slide options. And the options that we did not cover in our last lecture are laying out your slide, resetting the slide section or categorizing your slide into multiple slides. I will go over using the right click options in order to add new slides. Also, I'll show you how we could use the keys, shortcut keys within the submenu. Alright, so right here, this is my PowerPoint presentation. Now, layout. So if you see right here, it has the layout option. When you click on it, this one gives you the layout, the office theme. Now you probably notice, hey, isn't it the same office theme that we have when we select the new slide? Yes, it's exactly the same options. But why do we have that duplicated under new slide and under layout? Very good question. Now, the reason we have that duplicated is because when you do new slide, and let's say you select two content ones, it actually creates a new slide for you and add that slide theme on top of it. So it laid over on top of the new slide. However, if you select this one, the previous slide, and then you go into the layout, and now you want to select to content, it is not going to create a new slide for you. What it will do is it will slap or paste the contents of or the office theme on top of this existing slide. See how it works? Now you don't have to create a new one. So that's the difference. So all the options that you have available under layout are exactly the same. The only difference is it does not create a new slide. All right, let me go back, undo it, delete this new slide that I created. Okay, let me close the design ideas. Now the next option we have available is a reset. So what reset does is, let's say if you pick a new slide, and for example you pick content with caption. This is a new slide you pick. You click the menu, the title, let's say Microsoft. Here you pick, for example, PowerPoint, Word, and here you pick something. PowerPoint is a very powerful tool. For example, you added these texts. Now, you do have the option to move these around. So let's say if you wanted to move this around here, you wanted to move this text box right here, and you wanted to move this text box right here. So this is how you wanted to present it. Now, 2 days later, your boss comes back to you and says, hey, you know what? I don't like the way it is laid out. I want you to make it more professional looking, or keep it the way it is when it came with the new slide office theme. All you have to do then, you just go in and click reset, and it will put everything back the way it was. So again, this is where your main title is, this is your text box, and this is your caption box that is on the side. This is what the reset does, so not to worry about moving them around or making sure, hey, these handles are actually stay here, or they're big enough, they're small enough. Not to worry about it. All you have to do is simply reset, and it will move or adjust all the text boxes the way they are presented in the office theme. All right, next one is the section. The section key, what it does is it actually allows you to move these slides into different sections. For example, I wanted to put these slides into one big section. Let's say click section, add section. And I wanted to call it introduction. So it created an introduction. Now you see it right here, it has a little arrow key. When you click on it, it's going to collapse the section, and it's going to move all these 5 slides into that introduction. Now if you decide that you want to keep the introduction slides, 2 of them under this section and the remaining 3 in a different section, then you simply come down to the number 3, click on section again, drop down and click on add section, and then you could say second section. Now you see when you collapse the first one, it will only hide or collapse the first 2 not the remaining 3. You could go to the second section, sorry, and then you could collapse that one as well, and it has categorized into 2 different categories. That's how the section works. You could also do collapse all, which will collapse them into its own section. You could also remove all sections if you do not want to use a section, or if you do not want to categorize them. You could remove them all. Perfect. Now the next one is using the right click options. Right click options meaning you have this entire slide section, right? This entire slide section menu that we covered right here. If you do not want to come here, or if you do not have a ribbon, then you could simply click on the slide, right click, and it will give you the same options that you have up here. See these new slide, duplicate slide, add section, delete section. So all that menu that you are covering from this slide ribbon, you could also access it by right clicking it. Next one and the last one is using submenu keys. Submenu keys are the keys that are within a menu. So if you notice that new slide, if you click on drop down, you're going to notice some of the characters have underline, like D for duplicate selected slide, L for slides from outline, and R to reuse slides. So if I click on the drop down, and instead of me going all the way down and click on duplicate, I could just simply, while this sub menu open, I could simply click D and it will do the duplicate. Similarly, I could do L for slide from outline by hitting L key on my keyboard, and it will ask me which file that you want to import in. And the last option, again, reuse slides, I could simply use R and it will tell me which PowerPoint slides that you want to reuse. So anyway, these are the very shortcut keys that you could use as long as you know which key that you have to hit. And to know that, you have to find out which key is underlined. All right, so this is all about new slide, layout, reset, and section. And now you should know that you could work with many different slides without having to go through finding out which slides to use. I hope you learned something new in this lesson. And if you have any questions, please do let me know. I'll see you in the next lesson. Hey folks, welcome back again, and we are still on drawing a lesson. And in this lesson, we are going to cover two things. One, how to fill our shape, and the second one, how to outline that shape. Okay, both of these options are covered. If you select this one, both of these options are covered in these two sections you see right here, shape fill and shape outline. Now I'm going to make this text box a little smaller so it will be easier for me to show you what I want to do. So let me move this up here so you could see it better. Now if I want to fill this shape with a color, so I could do select a color, drop down, select a color, whichever the color that I want. Now this is a shape itself. Remember, we picked this shape from these shapes. Now if you have a rectangle, let's say you pick this rectangle and you make a shape out of it and double click on it, you can also type this is a rectangle. By default, it's going to give you a color of blue. If you don't like the color of blue, you could change it to a different color, whichever color you want. So let's say you pick a dark black or something. Or sorry, not dark black. I wanted to show you something else. So let's say you pick a white with background this. Now you notice the color of the text is different. So I could change the color to black so it would be more visible. See, that's how you could also change it. Now remember, if you notice one thing, inside of this shape is the color that we are filling. Outside is the shape outline. So we are talking about shape fill, which is inside, shape outline, which is the outside right here. Right now, by default, it is still blue. If you want to change the color of the outline, you could click on shape outline, which we will cover in a second. Okay, so now keep going on with shape fill. These are the standard colors that most of the people use. These are the recent colors that I have used. If you do not want to fill it, you could just simply click no fill. Again, going back, fill more colors. Now, if you want to pick a color that is not, let me cancel this, that is not, and any of these color does not match, you could go into more color fill options, and you could pick any of these colors that actually fits your need. Now, still, if it does not, you could go to custom, and you could make the change. Let's say if you wanted to pick a yellow one, and you wanted to have the yellow one a little more limer, you could also do it that way. Or if you think that you have a code for that color, you could plug that code inside of it, and it will make that change. You click OK, and you're going to see it gives you a little more of a lime color. Going back again to more fill colors, there's one more thing you notice. It has a transparency. So if you move the cursor down, let's say to 56%, click OK. Now it's more transparent, and it also changed the color, but you probably noticed that it has changed the color, but in fact it's the same color, but it's more transparent now. All right, going back in, next one is eyedropper. This is my favorite because it does miracle. How it works, like let me tell you, if you have a hardware store nearby and you go to the hardware and you tell the hardware people in the paint department, hey, can you make me a color that matches this color? They put it in the machine and they make you that color, right? This eyedropper works the exact same way. How? Let me first tell you. Let's say you need to fill this color. Right now it's gray. You want to fill this with a color that has the same color of this little guy sweater. What you do, you select the object first, you go back into shape fill, click on eyedropper. Now it's going to give you that little box. You have to move that little box to where or which color that you want to pick. You want to pick this color, right? It's going to tell you want that, or it's going to give you that little preview. As soon as you say yes, this is the color I want, just simply click and it will give you the exact same color that matches the same sweater of this little guy. See how beautiful it is? I love this function. All right, moving on. So next one is picture. Now this picture is not the picture as if you're going to click on it and it's going to bring a picture and it's going to paste it somewhere here. If you're selecting a box or an object right here or a shape and you want to insert a picture inside of it. So let's say I wanted to put a picture of an apple inside. So I'll go in shape fill, click on picture. I don't have a picture on my computer, so I'm not going to pick the first option. I'm going to pick the second option from online. As soon as I click on that, it's going to open up an online picture box. I'm going to just type apple, hit enter, and it's going to give me a bunch of pictures from online. I'm going to pick the first one that I like. I'm going to select it and insert it. As soon as I do it, you notice that it is actually inserted that picture inside of that object. Now you see that whole picture, that whole text message, and this whole object is one big group. That's how the picture thing works. I like that too. I use it many times. I'm sure it's going to be very helpful for you too as well. Let's talk about gradient. Now, if you select this one, I'm going to select the first one and go down to gradient. You see you could change the light variation and dark variation. It's simply you move your mouse over to these and see the preview, whichever that you like. And if you notice the gradients, what it gives you like a darker color somewhere in the middle, lighter color on the side. So it's give you like a mixture of color, not the solid color, one color. Similarly, just like that, if you have a dark variation, you're going to notice dark in the middle, lighter on the side. If you like this type of effect on your object, you could work on that as well. All right, next one is texture. Texture, as you could see, you have these textures available. Let me move this picture or my object to the side, and then I go back into shape fill, texture back again, and now you could see it changes its texture the way you want. See, it's beautiful. Let's say if you wanted to change this texture or this texture, whichever texture that you like, you could pick that. All right, now let's go to the next one, which is about our shape outline. Now, as I said, a shape fill, meaning filling inside of this object right here. This is inside. Now we're talking about outside. See this, as soon as you select it, see this line that is covering this whole rectangle. This is what we're talking about, shape outline. Right now, the shape outline is the same color as inside. If I wanted to change it to, let's say, red, I could change it to red, see? And if you click outside, you're going to notice that it has still the same color, but outside is covered with, or the border of that object is red now. Let's go back in. You could change any color you want, which we have already covered. There are standard color, the recent colors, and if you don't want any outline, you could select this one. More color options. So if you, the same way, if it does not matches and you wanted to get more colors, you could get in here. And if you wanted to do the eyedropper on that one as well, you could do the same way that we covered in shape fill. Sorry, by the way, I am still on shape fill, but shape outline. It does the same eyedropper. Now, what are the different things now we're going to talk? We're going to talk about the weight now, which is different from the shape fill. If you move your mouse over to weight, you're going to notice right now it is selected to 3/4. This is the thickness of your border that is surrounding your object. If you wanted to make that surrounding or that border thicker, you could change that. See, if you hover your mouse over to these, you're going to notice that's making the outside lines thicker. So let's say I pick 4.5 points and it made it thicker, right? Okay, now also if you go down to sketched, there are different ways you could sketch outside of your object or your text box or your shape. You could also pick curved, you could pick freehand, or you could pick scribble. So whichever way it looks good for your presentation, you pick according to that. And the last one I want to cover is dashes. As it seems, it gives you the dashes feel of your text box or the object. So right now it's solid. You could change it to round dotted, and you could change it to square dotted. Anything you change it to, it's there, dashes, dash dot, and a whole bunch of stuff. And you notice it changes. It's the way it looks. All right, this lesson was about shape fill and shape outline. I am sure you have learned something new in this lesson, and we're going to cover a lot more newer things, I'm telling you. So stay tuned, and I will see you in the next lesson. Hello again, and welcome back to the shape format. This is what we are continuing to explore. What are the different options or functionality we have available under the shape format menu? And these are the few lists that we wanted to cover. And of course, the focus of this lesson is what? The word art styles and accessibility, which is already highlighted or change color in blue and underlined. So let's get right into it without wasting any time. So when you select a shape or a text box, it is automatically highlighted your shape format. And what we're going to cover right here is the word art style and accessibility, which is this one. So word art style, very easy, very self-explanatory. When you click on the drop down, you have a different way how your text you want to look like. So there are different styles. As you notice, you could pick any one that you like. Again, whichever the style goes with your presentation. This is a very cool word art styles that I have used many times in the past. Then the text fill, text outline, text effect. This is pretty much the same as these that we talked about, but this one specific to the coloring of the text, not the actual shape itself. So I'm sure you know how it works. You could go into it and you know how to change the color. The next one I'll want to talk about is accessibility. So when you click on the accessibility, you're going to notice you could actually put a comment regarding each object. So if you see, how would you describe this object and its context to someone who is blind? So this is specifically for those people who cannot see, so they could actually read through it or listen through it. So you could type it in here talking about this slide talks about all the different options we have available under shape format. That's pretty much it. Sorry about the little spelling mistakes there. And this, once you have that caption type or this description inserted into the each object, then it will be a lot easier for people who are unfortunate not to see your slide, but they could actually go through it and listen to it. All right, these are a couple of things I wanted to talk to you. As I said, I wanted to keep it very short, simply to focus on word styles and accessibility. I see you in the next lesson. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome to the symbols lesson. In this lesson, we are going to cover equation, and in the equation, there are two different sub-menu that opens up that are format shape and equation menu within equation itself. And of course, the symbol itself is part of insert menu, which is the main menu on top of your PowerPoint presentation. And the second functionality of symbols that we will cover is the symbol itself. So let's get into it, and I will show you right here on top. We have this insert menu. Inside of insert menu, we have symbol menu, which is the sub menu of insert. And the two things that we are covering within symbol is equation and symbol. Okay, so let me go and insert a new slide. I'm already in the insert menu, new slide. And for example, I wanted to pick a blank slide. With the blank slide, I want to pick the equation. Now remember, equation is something someone will pick if that person is in or explaining algebra or advanced mathematics and trying to do equations. This functionality is specifically designed for people who are related to mathematics. So if you just simply click on it, it will give you or not or just move your mouse over it, it will give you quick information about equation. If you click on the drop down, you're gonna find some predefined formulas in there, like area of circle, and different theorems, different sums, series, and expansions. And I am sure people who are too much attached or very much familiar with mathematics, they know exactly what these equations are. Now, the reason we have this equation as a menu itself within PowerPoint is because sometimes it is hard to put all the entire equation into one line. As you could see, you have 1 plus x, and that is in parentheses. You could do that, that's no problem. But then you have nth of the value, which is right on top right hand corner of that ending parentheses. That is sometimes hard to put that into your presentation. Similarly, if you have equal sign 1 plus nx divided by 1 exclamation, it is hard to put this whole thing in one line. So that is why PowerPoint has made our life easier and given us predefined equations. Depending on which equation that you are working on as a mathematician, you could just simply click on that. For example, expansion of sum. You click on that and you're going to see the entire equation being posted or pasted in. You could make that bigger, smaller, whichever you want. Now, as soon as you insert that equation that you picked, one thing you're going to notice, it's going to give you two things. One is a shape format, which is again an add-on menu as soon as that equation is inserted. Shape format, I'll quickly go over. It's something that we have covered previously, which covered about insert shapes. There are different type of shapes that if you wanted to add within your equation, you could do that. You could add that shape. You could add a text box. Then you have shape styles, different colors of those shape style, word styles, accessibility, arrange if you wanted to bring it forward, bring it backward, align it, rotate it, whichever the way you want, which is also part of the shape format. And the last one is the size. Size is the size of this margin. This box, or this box is also known as object, the size of the object. Again, this is something that we have already covered. Many times when you insert an object, it opens up a shape format menu. All right. Another menu that it opens up when you do insert and add an equation, it opens up another menu, which is equation. What equation allows you to do is that you could add, edit, or update your existing equation. So let's say if you have the first one and you want to add another equation, you could do that. Inc equation is also another cool way for mathematicians to write down their own equation, and Microsoft PowerPoint would translate that into and insert it into PowerPoint. Let's take a look. So you click on Inc equation and it will open up a quick pad, write math here. So since I am using my mouse, I'm not using a pen. So for those who has a pen, it will be a lot easier for them to actually write them down here. So if I am right here, inside right here, and I wanted to do, let's say, instead of a 1, I wanted to do 1 plus 2 or 2 plus 2. I could do insert equation, and I could do 2 plus 2. I know it's hard for me because I'm using my mouse. For those who are using pen, it'll be a lot easier. You click on insert, and you're going to see it added 2 plus 2 for you. That's the beauty of ink equation, that you could write it down any way you want and explain it to your student how that equation would work. Just like that, you have professional expressions like convert selections to two-dimensional form of professional display, linear, normal format, and then you coming to the right side, then you have these symbols. So these symbols, again, these symbols are somewhat similar to the symbols that we will cover, which is right here, this part symbol. But since right now we are inside the equation, equation has its own symbols. So as soon as you go to equation menu and pick these symbol, you're going to notice these symbols are mostly, or I would say all of them pretty much, are related to math. These are all math related equations, which says right here basic math, that you could put in if you wanted to add an equal sign, if you wanted to add greater than sign, less than sign, if you wanted to add not equal to sign, everything will be added right here by putting in through the symbol. Then you have a fraction. Let's say if you are creating your equation here and you want to input a fraction, this is the functionality you will use. Script, radical, integral, larger operators. If you are working with the larger operators, which are this summation sign, with lower limit, with upper limit, brackets. Let's say if you wanted to add a parentheses, this is a parentheses, this is a curly braces, parentheses, and brackets. All of them are available. So let's say if I come in here, I'm going to put that into a bracket. So I'll come in here and put it in one bracket, and the bracket is added right here. Functions, different functionality, sin, cos, tan, and inverse function, hyperbolic functions, accent, limit, and log operator matrix. By the way, this has a lot of features and functionality for specifically mathematician or the person who is familiar with equations or deal with creating equations for their students. All right, now I'm going to go back to insert and I'm going to quickly cover the part of symbol. Right now, as you see, the symbol is grayed out. The reason it is grayed out because I haven't selected any text to have or to use a symbol or attach a symbol to it. So let's say if I click on text box and I say, for example, UTCLI. This is, by the way, my company name, UTCLI. And let's say if I wanted to put a trademark to it, a copyright, or anything to that, or registered firm, then I would go into insert and I'll pick those symbols for it. So as I said, if I wanted to make it a copyright, I will go into here. You see C within a circle. You click in this insert and simply close, and it inserts that. If you wanted to add a registered trademark like this, insert, close, and you see it is added. So it has so many symbols that I would say the sky is a limit here. You're gonna find so many symbols that might be valuable to you or might be something that you're looking for. So right here, as you can see, this is a trademark. These are 1 to the third, which is 3/3 of a quarter. If you're dealing with measurements, you could use that. Many of the measurements are like other shapes are available, like male or female shapes. These are the shapes or symbols of cards. Um, and these are the symbols for music. So any of these symbols that refers to something specifically, you could insert right here. All right. So What we covered? We covered insert menu, and within that insert menu, we covered the submenu of symbol. That symbol has two functionality to offer: equation and symbol. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll see you in the next lesson. Hello and welcome again to the links section. Once again, links is a submenu of the insert menu in PowerPoint. And there are three different functionality that are available under links. One that we covered about is zoom, second link, and the third one is action. And in this lesson, we are going to cover everything about action. So let's get into it right away. I'm going to create a new slide to go over our lesson. So I'll go to the home menu right here. Click on New Slide drop down and pick a blank slide. In the blank slide, I'll just pick a text box, and I could type anything here. For example, once again, Jerry Seinfeld, one of my favorite character from Seinfeld show. So basically what I'm doing here now, if I go back to the insert, and under insert, there is this sub menu that's called links. Within the links, we're covering the action. The action item allows us to add an action to it when you click on that during your PowerPoint presentation, or you could just hover your mouse over to that object and it will do something for you. So let's click on it. And as you could see, excuse me, as you can see, it gives us two options. One, mouse click, and the second one is mouse over. So when mouse click, if I am in PowerPoint slide view and I click on this text or the object around that text, what it will do. Right now, action on click, do nothing. Hyperlink to, you could also hyperlink to a new slide, a custom slide, or any URL. So if I wanted to put in a URL, so it'll go to Jerry Seinfeld Wikipedia page, I could just do URL and type right here the exact URL of Wikipedia. Or if I wanted to go to Google, for example, www.google.com, and click OK. The address you enter is not valid because it has to start with http://. I should not have deleted the earlier one. Click OK. Now click OK. Now when I go to my slide view, which is right here, slideshow, and this time when I click on it or move my mouse over it, you see it changes. And when I click it, and it will open up my web browser, and it will actually open up a Google page or whatever the URL that I had linked to. All right, escape out of it. Let me go back to my actions. And right now, just action on click, I'll just leave it to none. Similarly, we have a run program. If you want, if you're going through the presentation and you want to run a program, for example, you want to open up a Word or you want to open up any kind of executable file, you could actually select this one, and as soon as you click that object, it will run that program. Same thing, run macro. Macro are the ones that usually are available and most commonly used in Microsoft Excel. And also what the object action will be if you select the macro. And there is a couple of them right here at the bottom. It says play a sound. So let's say if you check this one and you click on the drop down, these are all the quick sounds that you have available. For example, if you wanted to start your presentation and you tell everyone, welcome everyone to my lesson. This is amazing day and let's get started. And right away, as soon as you click on your object and you want to hear the drum roll, for example, then you select the drum roll right here, click drum roll, and click OK. Now when you go back to slideshow right here, click on it. By the way, again, slideshow can be accessed from here or from up here, right here from this menu. I am used to this one, so I'm going to click on it. Now, if you're going to notice, as soon as I click on it, you will hear the drum sound. There you go. See? So I have to click on it. So let me go back in action, and the last one we have highlight click. So basically, highlight click is actually emphasizing the object itself. So whatever the action that you pick, when you click on it, it will highlight that object. It doesn't do anything, no action will be taken. It will just highlight the box. So if you check mark this box, click OK, and go back into your slide show. And now if you're going to click on it, you're going to see the object highlighted. See? All right, my drum roll, the object is highlighted. That's what the action does. So all three options under the mouse click are available: highlight, play sound, or if you want to play your own custom sound, I am sure it has your custom sound as well. See, other sound, it should allow you to pick your own sound, your customized sound. Let's uncheck this. Now, whatever that we have covered under action on click are the same functionality available under mouse over. So mouse over is only what you have to do is hover your mouse over slightly to that object. So basically when you are in a slideshow, all you have to do is just move your mouse over it. You don't have to click it, and it will perform the same functionality as you would have picked under the mouse click. So that's the only difference. And the rest, the entire functionality is the same. Alright guys, I hope you learned something new in the action, and this basically covers our entire section for links. The next one will cover about the comments, so I'll see you in the next lesson. Hello and welcome back. We are still talking about the table, and as we're inserting the table, you all know that it actually shows up two menus on the top right corner. And those two menus are the table design and the layout. The table design we have already covered, right? Now the layout is the one that I wanted to cover in this lesson. And what are the things that are included in our layout? And if you select the table, and you're going to notice these two options or two menu that will appear. And also another thing you probably noticed that the color of these menu actually are different from these regular permanent menu. So let's select the table design, layout, and I will show you what we're covering. We're covering table menu, rows and columns, merge, cell size, alignment, table size, and arrange. Okay, so in order to explain you further on these two on the layout, I'm going to create a new slide, and I'm going to pick the blank one. Then I'm going to insert a table with, for example, 4 columns and let's say 5 rows. Okay, so now it is selected. Now if you go to layout, and you notice that it has by default grid lines already enabled for it. If you disable it or uncheck it, you're not going to notice any difference. Why? Because when you create a table, PowerPoint automatically gives or puts in the border lines for you inside of every slide as well. So let me click on view grid lines again, and I'll go into the table design, and I'll go into where you see borders, and I want to click no borders. This way you don't see any of these borders. Now if I go back to the layout, and now you notice the view grid lines has already been selected, and if you notice, as soon as I uncheck it, see, everything goes away. Now it does not mean that this is a one big row. This is a one big cell. This is another one big cell. Actually these are two different cells. See, if I hitting the tab, it jumps from one cell to another cell. But of course sometimes it gets tough, so grid lines are the lines that when you have them checked, they will show up. But when you're going to print this this slide, for example, then it won't show up. It's just a way for us to keep track of which cell starts from where and where does it end. And if you want to select the entire table, you have these options. You could select the entire table, you could select a column, you could select a row. All right, the next one I wanted to talk about is the rows and columns. Now this is a very interesting one and also very helpful. Of course, the first one is delete. If you wanted to delete the entire table, you could just simply click on delete and click delete table, and it will get rid of it. Let's insert it back again, table. And now let's go back to the layout menu. This time I wanted to delete a column, so let's click on delete column. So as soon as I clicked on delete column, you notice it deleted the column. Instead of deleting a column, it deleted everything. Why? Because I had everything, the entire table selected. So let me undo my change. Now this time I wanted to actually select that column. Once I select that column, then I go to delete, and then I could say delete column, and it will get rid of. From 4 column, it came down to 3. If I wanted to get rid of, for example, second row. If I wanted to get rid of the second row, I would need to make sure this row is selected. Go down to delete and delete rows, and it will delete that specific row. All right. You could also do deletion. Let me uncheck it. Sorry, not uncheck it. Let me undo it. If you wanted to delete the second row, you could delete from this menu, or you could also right click. It will give you the quick menu. Right here you see delete, drop down, and delete row. It'll do the same function for you. Now you know, as you are working through your spreadsheet or your table, you notice, hey, I should have 3 columns, sorry, 3 rows or 4 rows. Now how do you add that? So let's say if you have your numbers here 1 and 3, and you want to add a second row, and which should be between 1 and 3. So all you do is select the third one, and then you could pick this option where it says insert above, and it will insert above. So let me undo that. If you selected this one and you still wanted to insert a row in the middle, you could say insert below, and it will insert the row below. Similarly, if you wanted to add, let me see, A and C. If you wanted to add a column in between A and C, and you wanted to name it, for example, B, you select whichever column, but then you have to make sure where you are inserting. Now, by looking at it, we could tell we're inserting on the right hand side. So we'll do insert right, and it will insert it right. If you wanted to do the same thing and you wanted to insert it on the left, you just simply say insert left, and it will insert another column for the left. So this is all about rows and columns. Let's get into the merge one. Merge one is also a very good one when you wanted to have cells within the cells, or when you wanted to have one big cell instead of 3 different cells. So in this one, as you could see, I am in a cell which is under A column and row 1. If I wanted to make 2 cells out of this one cell, what I could do is I could say split a cell, and it will say, okay, number of columns, of course, because we are doing vertically, and number of rows 1, because we are doing it only on 1 row. So just click OK, and you're going to notice it gives you 2 cells. See, cell 1 and cell 2. And the bottom one is still cell 1, and it's entire big cell, right? Okay, good. Now the next one is I want to talk about merge cell. So right now, let's, for example, you have one cell C1, C2, and C3. You want to have all these 3 cells to be merged together as one big cell. Then you could do is merge cell, and it will actually put everything together as one cell, one big cell. So sometimes you just wanted to put a total of everything here, so that's how you could split or merge the cell. Next one I want to talk about is cell size. You could move the cell size as if you notice as soon as you put your pointer or your mouse inside, it gives you this uppercase I looking cursor. And as if you move this cursor close to your grid line, it changes to like two arrows, one on the left, one on the right, which is kind of telling you that you're extracting. You could actually click, drag to whichever place that you wanted to drag it to, depending on the size that you wanted to pick. If you wanted to use the exact sizing of this measurement, you could actually put it in here. It says width. You could do width instead of 0.83. Let's say you want to pick 1 inch. You hit 1, and you see it moved this entire cell. Just like that, if you wanted to change the height, right now it's 0.41 and I wanted to do like 0.85, it will change the size of that cell. Alright, distribute cell. What it means is right now, if you notice, my cell, this one, is bigger. This one is smaller and this one is smaller. Sorry, when I say cell, I meant row. If I wanted to have all the rows to be the exact same size, all I have to do is select my entire table and click distribute rows, and it will actually make all the rows equal size. Same thing if I wanted to have the column distributed. Right now, let's say if I make this column bigger, let me move this, and now you notice column 1, 2, and 3. Let me make this like this. Column 1 and 2 are different sizes, and 3 and 4 are different sizes. Now, if you wanted to make them all the same sizes, all you have to do is click distribute columns, and it will actually come in as the same size. So why it says, now if you notice, it actually gave 2 and 3, sorry, 3 and 4 same size. You could actually have all of them selected and click on distribute size. Sorry, you can move this to the left like this, oops, like this, and click on the entire table, and it will distribute size. Oh, you know why it's not distributing size accordingly? Because I have these two cells inside of it. So it has to make sure that its distribution goes along every cell inside of it. That's why it is not picking this cell, it's picking the cell inside of it. That was my mistake. Anyway, I hope you got that mistake and you understand what I was talking about. Next one is I want to talk about, let me pick this again. Let me go to layout. I want to talk about alignment. Alignment that you see inside is, this one is for the text. If you want to align text in the middle, it will move in the middle. On the right, it will move to the right. Same thing if you want to have a line on top, a line on the bottom, a middle, and on the bottom, it will move with everything we want. Text direction, if you want to change direction, top, left, right, horizontal, whichever you want. And cell margins, if you have the margins on the normal one. Right now it's normal, meaning if you notice, it has enough space right here, enough space at the bottom, enough space on the right. If you wanted to do none, you're going to see it actually goes close to the cell, which doesn't really look that much professional, so keep it normal. Then the table size. Table size is the entire size of your cell, of your table. If you wanted to change it, let's say 3, it will change the size of the height. If you wanted to change the width from 6.83 to 8, it will move the size. A range is something we have already talked about in the past. If you have more than one object in your slide, you could bring it back, bring it forward. So let's say if I copy this, paste it, and now I have one of my object in the back, one in the front. If I want to bring my object, the one that is in the back, all I could say, layout, bring forward, and it will bring that to forward. Same thing, send backward, selection pane, alignment, how you want to align your entire cell. You could group them, you could rotate them, which we have already covered, and I'm sure you remember that. So anyway, this whole lecture was about the layout, and the layout is an add-on menu that pops up every time you insert a table, and then you could work with table design and layout and change the way it looks. Alright, I'll see you in the next lesson. Again, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to send me a message. Hello everyone, and welcome to the media menu. Media is the functionality of insert menu, and the media offers three different functionality. That is video, audio, and screen recording. You could insert video from your PC or online, same thing for audio, and you could do a screen recording and insert that into your slide so you could play it back for your audience. In this lesson, we are going to focus on only video, and then we will follow other lessons where we'll cover audio and screen recording. All right, so let me go into the insert menu, which is right here, and we are on the media menu, which is right here. I'm going to go ahead and add a new slide, which is right here as a new slide. I will click something here, for example, Seinfeld pretzels. Seinfeld pretzels. Pretzels are something to eat. I'm sure everybody knows. And now, if you wanted to add a video right here, you could just simply go to video and click on online video. When you go to click online video, I already have a URL for my online video. All I have to do is copy. This is a YouTube video that I am copying in. Once I copy it in and insert, you're gonna see it will paste this video directly from YouTube. So basically what you could do is you could show, or you could actually, while explaining to your audience, you could say, hey, I'm going to explain how Seinfeld pretzel part works, and I'm going to go to the slideshow, right click, and I'm simply going to click, and you're going to see the video.
Pretzels are making me thirsty. These pretzels are making me thirsty. These pretzels are making me thirsty. These pretzels are making me thirsty.
By the way, anytime I watches this episode about pretzels, it is just so funny, so hilarious. Anyway, the point is that's how you insert, add a video from online video, as long as you have to have a URL. Okay, another way is if you wanted to add a video from your PC. So let's say I'll go ahead and delete this, and I will change this to let's start the countdown. Okay, so if you are celebrating something, and while you're celebrating, you are doing some presentation as well, you could also do this way, and you could just insert from video from my PC, and I have the countdown right here. And when I do slideshow, click on it, and you're gonna see it's gonna start the countdown. 3, 2, 1. And then I could start my presentation, or let's say Happy New Year, or Happy Birthday to you, or whatever that you want to say. So this again covers our insert, media, and a video section. Next lesson we're covering the audio piece of media and insert. See you in the next lesson. Hello again, and let's talk about add-ins. Add-ins, also known as plugin. That's why I have a picture of plugin right here. It is a function that is available under the insert menu. So since we are on the section of inserting things into a PowerPoint, add-in is like an inserting into the PowerPoint. That's why it falls into that category. Now, what exactly is that? In computer world, a plugin is a software component that adds a specific feature to an existing computer program. When a computer program supports plugins, it enables customization. So, as an example, I'll give you a quick example. For example, we have PowerPoint, right? We have seen that it allows us to add images, pictures, and so many things. And there are it has a huge library of templates or huge library of images inside. But what if I wanted to add cartoon characters? I didn't see it in there. Maybe there's a company XYZ who has that program or software that allows me to add into the PowerPoint, so I could just pull those cartoons into my PowerPoint slide. Those are the add-ins. Any functionality that you think that is missing in PowerPoint and another company has built that, they could work with Microsoft to give them as an add-in. Because now, since Microsoft cannot build it, why? Because they probably have a patent on it. That's why Microsoft allowed them to have it as an add-in. Let's take a look real quick. Now, when you go back into the insert And this add-in, this is the part that I am talking about. When you click on add-in, get add-ins. By default, it's going to go to the store, which is Microsoft Store, and these are all approved add-ins. Just like if you have an iPhone or Samsung, you go to the App Store or Samsung Google Store. They have approved application or apps that are sitting there that you could download. Do you think that those applications are just available like that? No. They actually get approved from the manufacturer. So these add-ins that you see are the approved applications that work in with an integration with Microsoft. So, for example, one of them is I was going to quickly show you like Pixton comic characters. Now, as I said, maybe we don't have the comic characters in PowerPoint. If I click on add in, then it will allow me to have another menu and I could pick those comic characters and insert into my slides to make it more interactive. All right. So that's what about add-ins, and there are other options if you wanted to go into the list of my add-ins. I don't have anything right now, so I'm just going to click close. The next one with the insert add-ins is my add-ins. Again, I do not have any existing add-ins. I could see all that's available. I could see or manage other add-ins right now. The active application add-in is the WinZip Express for Office. So what it means is maybe I have a WinZip that allows me to create or zip the PowerPoint file right away from file. If I go to file and save as, it allows me to save in the WinZip as well. That's kind of like plug-in within the feature. Anyway, I hope you understand this lecture. If by any chance you think that you still have questions, you know how to reach me, and I'm always here to answer your question. I will see you in the next lesson about where we're gonna talk about links. Hello and welcome back to the links section. Links section once again is under the insert menu of the PowerPoint, and the three sub functionality of links are zoom, link, and action. And in this lesson we're going to cover link, how we could link to different files, different slides within the same presentation, or even link to an external URL. Let's take a quick look. I will escape out of this slide, and to go over this link lesson, I'm going to create a new slide. So I'll go home, click on new slide, and pick the blank slide. In the blank slide, I am going to insert a text box, and I'm gonna write down Jerry Seinfeld. All right. Now, for this text box, I have many different options to link this to different URLs or file. So if I go back to the insert and I click or move my mouse over to link, it'll give you a quick description of what a link does. If you wanted to know or learn more about Linux, just simply click on Tell Me More. So all you have to do is click on the drop down menu and click on Insert Link. So if you have not inserted the link before, you wouldn't see any of these recent items. So just simply click on Insert Link. When you go to Insert Link, by default, it will give you link to existing file or web page. So if you wanted to open a file when someone click on this text box, then you could just simply select that file. So for me, I would like to select a file. Let me go to my desktop, and I wanted to go to images, and I wanted to open the Jerry Seinfeld file, which is the actual image. So I'll just simply go ahead and click OK. Now that file has been linked to this image, to this text box. When I go into the slideshow by clicking right here, say slideshow, and while I'm explaining something about Jerry Seinfeld, all I have to do is simply move my mouse over to Jerry Seinfeld, and you see it actually giving me an option to click on it. So I'm going to click on it, and it's going to open up the file. See right here it says Jerry Windows Photo Viewer. It is actually opening that file in the Windows Photo Viewer. So that's how you could open a file. You could also link to an Excel file or a Word document or any type of file that you wanted to link to this text box. Same thing you could do for not just the text box, you could also insert an image and link that image to another file or another image. So let me go back in and I'm going to insert this time. I am going to insert a web page. So for web page, of course, you need to have the web page URL. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my web browser and I already have Jerry Seinfeld Wikipedia page open. So all I'm going to do is I'm basically going to copy this and I'm going to come back to this and I'm simply going to insert right here. You see this cursor? I'm just going to delete and simply insert or paste by Control V. Control V or right click and paste does the same thing. I'll go ahead and click OK. Now I'll simply go ahead and close this browser, so this way you know it actually opens up a new browser and it will take you to that URL. So I'll go ahead and click on the slideshow again, and now when I click on this box, the text box, it is actually opening up the URL, the web browser, and taking me to that web browser. That's how you could link an object on your PowerPoint slide to an external or internal URL. Alright, now the last part I wanted to cover is if you go back to the link and click on link insert, you could actually link something within this document. So it says place in this document. When you click on it, you see it gives you all those different slides that are available to you. Let's say I wanted to insert a table whenever someone click on Jerry Seinfeld. So I click on it. Now this text box or object has been linked to open up a slide that is within my PowerPoint presentation. So when I click on slideshow and move my mouse over to Jerry Seinfeld and click on it, it actually brings me to that slide, which is about inserting a table. So there are many cool things you could do with inserts. You could insert an image, you could insert a video, you could insert a URL, you could open up a file. So many good functionality within the Zoom, within the insert, link, and subsection of link. I'll see you in the next lesson where we'll cover everything about action. Hello, let's talk about cropping and changing the picture size. And that options are available under picture format and the size. As soon as you select your picture, it will give you the picture format menu. And in the picture format menu, there is a sub-menu called size. That size gives you three different functionality. One is crop, second is height, and third one is width. So let's take a look really quickly. I'm going to escape out of this slide view. And if you notice, I have this 4-color image here. Now this is a Microsoft logo, so it has 4 colors. So as soon as I select this picture, you notice it gives me the picture format menu right on top. I'm going to go ahead and select this picture menu. And all the way to the right, you see this is a submenu of the picture format, and that's called size. This is basically about sizing your entire image. And the first functionality of that sizing we're going to talk about is cropping. As you move your mouse over to crop, it will give you a quick description. Crop your picture to remove any unwanted areas. If you click on the drop down menu, it gives you a little more information. Let's click on the drop down menu. And the first thing first, it gives us the first menu, which is to crop simply. So when you select the crop, you're going to notice all of those circles, those are the handles that you have, now have additional these thick brackets on the corners and on the middle. So let's say if you wanted to crop out orange and green, you only want blue and yellow. So you select the crop and you move your mouse over to this red thick line, and you're going to notice it gives you a new arrow or a new mouse pointer, which is like a vertical line and a horizontal line. So you just click on it and drag it down and select all the way to where you want to keep the colors. So you select up to here. Now blue and yellow are selected, and now simply click on crop again, and you notice it is only giving us blue and yellow and took out the other two colors. All right, let me undo again. Let me go back to my crop menu so I could explain you now how can we crop all three colors except your yellow. For example, I wanted to keep yellow and get rid of orange, green, and blue. So I'll go ahead and click on crop again, and I will move this down or drag it down like this. It's just that simple. And click on crop again, and now I only got the yellow one. All right, that's how the crop works. Let me undo it and escape out of it. And the next functionality I'm going to cover is crop to shape. The crop to shape is also one of the coolest feature PowerPoint has. Basically what it does is when you move your mouse over, it gives you all bunch of different shapes. A rectangle, basic shape, block, equation, stars, flowchart, callouts, or different ones. As you select these different shapes, your image or your picture will become that shape. So see how it works. So if I select, let's say, this triangle, or move my mouse over to triangle, it will give me the name of that triangle, right triangle. I click on it, and you notice that picture that I have, it actually changed it into that shape. Let me undo. Let's say I wanted to make a star out of it. So I'll go down, crop to shape, and look for the star. For example, star, star, star. Where is the star? Right here. So let's say this is the star. So if I click on this 7-point star, no, right here, sorry, 5-point star, you see it actually changed that entire image changed to that image, that object of the star. Similarly, you have different options that you could do. If you wanted to do multiplication, you could do that as well. All right, I'm going to just simply go ahead and undo it. The next option we're going to cover is about aspect ratio. Aspect ratio, right now we have square 1:1. If you wanted to change the aspect ratio in a portrait or in a landscape, let's say if you wanted to change it 2:3. As soon as you click on 2:3, it actually changed it to the portrait from 2:3 option. Undo. If I wanted to change it aspect ratio to the landscape, for example, 4:3, it actually changed to 4:3. These are different aspect ratio that you have available. Then the next one you have is fill. As fill says, resize the picture so that entire picture area is filled while maintaining the original aspect ratio. So let's say if I click on fill and move my mouse, and let's say I wanted to have up to this size. Now it's not basically cropping this blue, it's actually going to reduce the size of all four of them into this. So if I go down and click fill again, and you notice it actually shortened the size of that. And you could do click crop again, and now you have shorter size and to that point where you did the crop. Let me do undo, so it'll go back. Alright, so the next one I wanted to show you is picture format, and going to crop and click on fit. And the fit says resize the picture so that the entire picture display inside the picture area while maintaining the original aspect ratio. So if I click on this one, and let's say I move this down to top right. Now you notice I'm only gonna get the full blue color, and the other ones are the smaller colors, or it actually reduced it down. Now if I click on crop now you notice it actually had kept the original area or original aspect ratio while it moved it to the right. It didn't give me the new area, which is just a crop one. It had kept the aspect ratio, and it only reduced the size that I reduced. That's how this fit works. Now let me undo again. And the last part I wanted to cover is simply height and width. You could adjust the height and width of your image by simply inputting these numbers or clicking on these top or bottom arrow keys. So let's say I wanted to be the height to be 7 inches instead of 5. See, it changed it, and the width changed it to 7. If I wanted to have 3, then it will bring it down to, so since it's a square, so automatically it just height with the width. If you wanted to have the exact same size, you could do it here as well. You see how it changes to the scale. But if you wanted to only change the height and not the width, then you unlock the aspect ratio. And now you could just change the height without changing the width. Or if you wanted to change the width without changing the height, you could do that as well, as long as your lock aspect ratio is unchecked. Alright, anyway, so I wanted to cover the cropping, height, and width, and there are many different options under the crop. Hopefully you learned something new. If you have any questions, let me know. Hello and welcome back to the picture accessibility and arrangement lesson, which is part of the picture format. Within the picture format, there is another submenu called arrangement or accessibility, and that gives you some of the different functionality. And those functionality are accessibility and arrange. And within arrange, we have bring forward, send backward, section, pane, align, group, and rotate. Let's look at them really quickly because some of these things we have already covered that are by default under the text box as well, or a different object that will appear for every object. Let me escape out of it, and I'm going to select the image or picture, and the picture format menu will pop up. And here we talk about accessibility. The first thing first, accessibility. As you move your mouse over, it says display the alt text pane, which means create text description for object for screen readers. So if you click on it, you could actually put a little description of that object, which is this is George Costanza. So just like that, you could just put that description in there, and it will put that description every time for your readers to read that. Especially this is good for the people, as it says, how would you describe this object and its context to someone who is blind? So that's why this accessibility option is available. Next one I want to talk about is the arrange, meaning the arrangement of your object. The first one is bring forward, second is send backward, and selection pane. These three different options, I know and I'm sure you guys have already understand that, but if you still need a quick refresher, I could show you real quick. For example, I insert an image right here to the picture, and this time I'll put Kramer in there. Kramer is here. Now you notice the Kramer image is actually right covering George's image. So let's say if I move Kramer's image like this, and I wanted to put George, and next to Kramer, for example, I move this up, and I wanted to have both of them side by side. I select this image right behind Kramer. I said bring forward, and it bring it forward. Now this Kramer image is behind the image of George. That's how the bring forward works. Send backward, if you wanted to, instead of do bring forward of this image, you could actually select Kramer's image and clicked on send backward, and it would push this image backward behind George's image. Selection pane, if you want to see the list of all objects, for example, if you have so many pictures. So let's say if I do insert online pictures and I select all these pictures and I click on insert, and you're gonna notice it actually brings so many images. So if I select out, you're going to see there's not all the images can be seen because they're right behind everyone. So you could click on selection pane, and it will give you the option to select the different objects. Where is that object? Which is it? How we could drag and take that out. That's what the main functionality of selection pane. I'm going to just do undo so I could go back to my original view. And other one is align. You could align your object. So let's say if you have this object right here and this object up here. Let's say if you wanted to align this object to this object right next to each other, you could do drag or drop, or simply select both objects by clicking or holding down to your control key. Go to align, and then you could say align top, and you see it is automatically aligned. Similarly, you have different options for alignment you could pick from. And then group, you could right now, as you notice, this is one image and this is the second image, right? You could group them together so they could become one image. So let's say if I move this over right here, select the other image as well by holding down to the control key. Now both images or pictures are selected. All I have to do, click and group. And now this is one picture now. See, isn't it cool? You could also do ungroup to ungroup it so they will be like separate images again. Like right now, they are two separate images. Rotate, simply rotate the image, and it's just that simple. Which, if you want to rotate 90-degree, vertical flip, horizontal flip, or more options if you want to be some certain degrees. Like if you want to do 35 degrees, you could get that as well. You could also click on this little handle to rotate as well. All these functionality works the same way. Alright, anyway, this was all about arrange, and we talked about bringing it forward, sending it backward, selection pane, align, group, and rotate. Hope you learned something new. I will see you in the next lesson. If you have any questions, please do let me know. Hello again. Let's talk about picture border, effects, and layout. And again, these are three functionality that are available under picture format and the picture style. So what we're going to cover in this lesson is picture style, picture border, picture effects, and picture layout. And if you want to see where you could find these four functionality, all you have to do is simply click on the picture. It will open up a picture format, new menu. You click on that, and right here you will see picture styles and all the remaining three: border, effect, and layout. Now let's talk about picture style. Simply select the picture, and you're going to notice that by default it has no border. So when you click on this or hover your mouse over, it says simple frame, and the frame is white. If you move your mouse over to the next one, it says beveled matte white, and as you move over, it will give you a different name of that frame, the metal frame, and drop shadow, and so on. There are so many others available as well. If you click on this drop down and you move your mouse over, it allows you to even move your frame the way you like. Also, like this one, I also find it sometimes very useful when you want to move or crop your image like that. So these are all the different options that you have to frame your image. Next one is a picture border. Now, if you do not want to pick these frames, you could define your own border. So, for example, if you click on the border, and let's say you want to pick a blue border. So you pick on the blue border. Now you see, as you click outside, you're going to notice it has this blue border, but it's very thin. Now what if you wanted to make it thicker? So you change the color, perfect, and now you go to weight. Click on the weight. Weight is the thickness of the border. So let's say if you pick 0.6. Now you see, now you have a blue border around that picture. Same way, if you wanted to go and sketch that or dash that out, for example, you wanted to pick the dotted line, you could do that as well. Let me do undo changes to go back to its original picture. One more. Okay. Or I could just simply do picture reset, which is picture reset right here. All right. Next option is picture effects. When you click on the drop down, right now that's the present state, which is none. You could change to a different style of the picture effect, how you want to see it. There's a shadow as well, which will like show the shadow of the image itself at the bottom. There are different options available for inner and outer shadow as well. Reflection, you notice there's a reflection right here at the bottom, which is kind of like a mirror reflection. There are different options. Glow, if you wanted to have a little glow outside of the border of your image. Soft edges, bevel, there are different options how you want to bevel. There's 3D rotation as well, whichever way that you like. And the last option is the picture layout. As you select this one, and if you wanted to incorporate your picture into some kind of workflow, you could actually select that workflow, and that image will show up as part of that workflow. For example, as you hover your mouse over, you're going to notice it actually gives you that circle thing, but put that image into the circle and it gives you the text message on the side. Same thing like this, and as you move over to a different picture layout, it will change according to the picture layout. So anyway, these are the four options that I wanted to cover in this lesson: picture style, border, effect, and layout. If you have any questions regarding this lesson, please do not hesitate to send me a message. I'm always here to help. See you in the next lesson. Hello everyone and welcome back. This is the lesson we are going to cover how we could edit a picture or an image in a PowerPoint slide before we present it to our audience. So in this specific lesson, we're going to cover how we could remove a picture background. And that is available to us when we click on the image or picture itself, and it will give us a new menu that shows up on top, says picture format. And then you come down under that menu, a sub menu will show up, a remove background. When you click on the remove background, it'll give you four different options. One is mark area to keep, mark area to remove, discard all changes, and keep the changes. So let me quickly show you right now. As if you see, this is the slide, and I have selected the text, and the text gives us the shape format, but I wanted to go into the picture format. How the menu is going to show up: as soon as you select the picture, like right here I have this picture of Seinfeld characters. I selected this picture or an image. As soon as I select it, you notice that picture format menu pops up right away. When you select that, the first sub-menu that's going to show up is remove a background. So let's go ahead and click remove background, and this gives us four different options: mark areas to keep, mark areas to remove, discard all changes, and keep all changes. So let's take a look at very first one. As soon as you select background removal, now, PowerPoint has this sensitivity where it picks up the faces and try to make or try to remove the background and keep the faces. But now, right now, as if you notice, it's only selecting three images. So, sorry, three faces: Kramer, George, and Elaine. I also wanted to keep the Seinfeld's face as well. So what I have to do is I'll click on mark area to keep, and I will use my mouse and basically drag from this part and all the way until to the point where I want it to keep. So right here, as soon as I do that, you notice I have Jerry's face inside the picture now, but you notice Elaine's hairs are still not coming in. So I'm going to go ahead and do like this. Now you see it is coming up. Now if I click on keep changes, now it is giving me all the four characters into that image. That's how the background and mark area to keep works. On the opposite side, if you click on mark area to remove, so let's say I only wanted to keep Jerry, Elaine, and George, and I wanted to get rid of Kramer. All I could do is mark area to remove, and I could kind of like take my mouse and kind of like brush it through like this and let it go. And you see automatically it removed it. Now it has this little piece in there. I'm going to circle that and it will remove that too. Now if I say keep all changes, and it will get rid of that fourth characters, give me only three characters. Same thing, remove go back to background removal, and if you wanted to say discard all the changes, then it will discard everything, all the editing that you have done, and bring your picture or image back to its original state. Alright, so this whole lesson, a quick one, is all about editing the background of an image, and those editing options are mark area to keep, mark area to remove, discard all changes, and keep all changes. If you have any questions, please do let me know. I see you in the next lesson. Hello everyone and welcome back to the picture format. Again, as you select a picture or an image, it opens up a new menu, and there are several options and functionality that is available under picture format. And in this lesson, we are going to cover the adjust, and it has a few different functionality like correction, color, artistic effects, and transparency. So let's get into it, and I'll quickly show you. When you select an image and you go to picture format, and right here it says adjust. Sorry, not this one, right here. And this one gives us 1, 2, 3, 4 different options that we are going to cover in this lesson. Not these three, which we'll cover in the next lesson. So in this one, we're going to cover correction, color, and artistic effects, and last one, transparency. So when we select this image and we go to the correction one, as you notice, it gives us two different options. One is sharpen and soften, the other one brightness and contrast. Now if you notice, as you hover your mouse over to the picture all the way to the left, the soften gives reduces or the sharpness down to 50%. If you want too much sharpness, it will actually add 50% more sharpness to your existing image. So by default, the middle one is your default one, which says sharpness is 0. So you could move or hover your mouse over to see the exact or the perfect sharpness that you need to get. Also in bright and contrast, your default image that shows up right here says brightness is 0 and the contrast is 0. So this is your default image. Now if you move your mouse to the left, it will brightness will be 20% less. It will be more darker. Move my mouse over a little left, it will give you the brightness minus 40%. Same thing if you move it to the right, the brightness will increases. Now if you move your mouse upward or downward, it will work on the contrast side. So right now the contrast 0. If you move up, you'll notice the contrast is minus 20%, minus 40, come down minus 20, plus 20, and plus 40. That's how the sharpen and soften and brightness and contrast work. If you need a more, if you need to add a more refined details to it, you could go to always picture correction and option, and it will give you a lot more different options to it. All right, next one we want to cover is the color. Now right here is the color. If you want to change the color, you simply click on the drop down of the color, and you notice the first one that is default is selected right here. It has the gray border around it, which shows that this is your default one. If you want a black and white, you could just simply go to saturation part where it says color saturation, just select that. If you wanted too much saturation, it's 400. Color tone, you could change the color tone. As you move your mouse over to each one of them, it will give you a preview. Recolor, if you would decide, hey, you know what, I'm making a picture and I want to recolor, or if you are doing it for your child and they want to recolor a picture, you could just select this one and tell them, hey, you know what, go ahead and color this up now. Same way, any of these recoloring options that you have available. Then there are more variation available if you want to do more colors to it, add more colors, set transparent color and picture color option, which gives you the same settings as you saw before on the right hand side. All right, coming down to artistic effects, click on that, click on the drop down, and you're going to notice it gives you the artistic effect. Now by default, the first one is selected as none. So if you move your mouse over to this one, for example, you notice it kind of gives you like a sketch. Now this is the one, it kind of give you a pencil grayscale. So it's pretty much kind of give you a picture as if you are getting while you are on vacation and someone on the street meets you and wanted to charge you like $5 to make your picture. So if you want that kind of picture without paying someone, you could actually get that picture from this type of setting. Similarly, like this one, it will look like as if someone has used a pencil and sketched that photo. There are many different ones available. This one is more of a block one, like a Lego. There are other ones is also available, which is like a cement one. And if you move your mouse over to glow edges, it's more of like a lights kind of like a highlighting and drawing the edges of everything. So there are many different ones that are available. The last one I want to cover is the transparency. If you move your mouse or click on the drop down, you're going to see the transparency as you move your mouse from the default transparency 0 all the way to the right. You're going to see the transparency up to all the way to 100%, which is kind of almost it's not even seen. So there are different images that you could use and pick for transparency as well. All right, so once again, the things that I wanted to cover for this slide was correction, color, artistic effects, and transparency. I'll see you in the next lecture where I'll cover the compressed picture, change picture, and reset picture. If you want to learn more about Linux, check out my best-selling course on Linux at udemy.com, or you could go straight to my website utclsolutions.com and you will find the exact same course there.